morning, everyone. Welcome to the 5th Annual Virtual Beautification Conference for 2023. Yay! It is a pleasure to be here again this morning to celebrate another year of Office Community Beautification and all their accomplishments and to highlight our great work that we do throughout the city. I want to thank especially the Office of Community Beautification staff and personnel, Paul Raj, Karina Casillas, Ana Huizar for leading today's event, Jerry Valido, Thomas Corrales. Am I missing anybody? Just Judith. Yes, those folks have really hard to put together today's event. It's 10:01 now, and we're going to kick off today's conference. We have a lot packed for you guys today. It's a full agenda. It's going to go from 10 to 1 p.m. today. We hope that you can, join us wherever you're at. Either you're at your home, at your office, or you're at a park, or wherever you're at. We're just excited that you're here. This is always such a pleasure to have this conference. We're going to begin this program today with a short video highlighting one of our Office of Community Beautification contractors, which is KYCC, or Koreatown Youth and Community Center. The Office of Community Beautification maintains contracts with local nonprofit organizations to provide public services such as graffiti abatement, litter removal, clean streets, weed abatement, community cleanups, and the KLAB program. You can find our local nonprofit partners throughout the city of Los Angeles every day working to create clean and beautiful communities. You can also help us to make this happen, even beautify your community even more by submitting any issues or requests via My 311, or you can download the app My LA 311 app if you don't have not done that already. It's exciting to be here. It's 10:02, Ana, and I think it's time to highlight this year's nonprofit. Every year, like we said, we try to highlight all the great work that our nonprofit leaders are doing out there. And this year, like I said earlier, KYCC will be taking the 2023 highlight. But it's exciting. We appreciate it, and we work with every contractor in different ways, and we're very appreciative for each and one of them. And we all of them do great work throughout the whole year. Again, everybody does a great job, and so we're excited to have you all here. And with that, I'll turn it over to today's video.
I'm the beautification coordinator here at KYCC. I've been with KYCC for about 2 years, and our goal here is to kind of help and serve the neighborhood, clean up the neighborhood, make it beautiful. We offer services such as clean streets, graffiti removal, and KLAB. All these programs help us beautify the community and grow our strength and our relationship with them, and just help beautify the neighborhood. That's our job here at KYCC.
And I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for the Environmental Services Unit at KYCC. And how I engage with the community is multiple ways. So I help organize community events with emphasis in tree planting, tree establishment, graffiti removal, and also cleanups. So my main goal is to really facilitate a really safe space for our volunteers and our constituents and participants of our service area, and really make sure that they have ownership and respect for their community, with also kind of volunteering their time and effort into that, and really solidifying their place in that community.
I enjoy just helping out the community, going out in the field, and people coming out to me, telling me thank you. You made my day. People walking by saying you did a good job, making them feel safe.
Y lo que me gusta pues es que desde que yo he comenzado a limpiar las calles, veo que también la gente bueno, de la comunidad, ellos como que ellos cooperan con nosotros porque cuando yo comencé yo veía, bueno, por ejemplo, yo veía más basura, ahora veo menos basura en las calles y por lo mismo antes cubríamos menos espacio, ahora cubrimos más, limpiamos más área, más espacio.
Thank you, KYCC. As you can see, they were really a treasure this year and continue to be a treasure within the community. Thank you, KYCC, for that really nice. Oh, if we can just put everybody on mute. Thank you. I just want to say thank you to KYCC for that, for your work and your efforts that you do throughout the year. And Albert, that was a great celebrity status. So hopefully I see you in movies next. With that, I want to say thank you again. The Community Beautification Conference has become a key event for us and an opportunity to share what the Office of Communication does throughout the year. We highlight our contractors, but we also highlight the work that the Office of Community Beautification does on a yearly basis. For short, as you know, we call the Office of Community Beautification OCB. And so I'll be referring to sometimes to OCB, but it's our Office of Community Beautification that is housed under our Department of Public Works. And Public Works, as you know, by the way, I forgot to say this. My name is Aura Garcia. I am the president of the Board of Public Works, and it's an honor and a pleasure to serve as the president of the Board of Public Works. I really treasure my position because it's a way and an avenue to bring folks together and highlight the good work that our community does. Again, this is a very staple event, and this is our 5th year doing this event. We did it again virtually to make sure that we have the presence and the attendance that, as you see today, at 191 strong. I welcome everybody. Welcome once again. Good morning. It's going to be a fun-filled day with a lot of action items, but a lot of good information and a way for you to get involved. For those that you do not know, Keep Los Angeles Beautiful is part of the Board of Public Works. This is the Keep Los Angeles Beautiful 5th Annual Beautification Conference. Under the Office of Community Beautification, it is a citywide volunteer-based community improvement and education campaign affiliated with the National Keep America Beautiful organization to engage the community, businesses, local government, and programs to prevent litter, remove litter, promote recycling, and produce beautification projects. This week is the National Public Works Week for us at the city and nationwide. This is the week that we highlight the many different projects, programs, and services that we do under Public Works. As you know, our teams under Public Works collect waste, remove graffiti, trim trees, they fill up potholes, repair sewers, and keep the street lights on. Our Office of Beautification, Community Beautification, OCB, and Keep Los Angeles Beautiful play a critical role in cleaning and beautifying our neighborhoods. For this reason, it's very important that we take an opportunity annually to showcase how this work contributes to the well-being for more than 4 million Angelinos and put a spotlight on the beautification services and programs that reach every neighborhood in the city. We're excited to be under the leadership of Councilmember Lee this year. He has now become the chair of Public Works for the city. And this year we kicked off the National Public Works Week Saturday in Chatsworth by doing a tree giveaway, a rain barrel giveaway, and an organic spell giveaway. It was really well attended and really well received in that area. So thank you, Councilmember Lee and his staff, for making that event such a joyful and welcoming event. Again, like I said, this conference is going to go from 10 to 1 p.m. today. You are free to come in and out, but it is so exciting and it's going to be so full of information that I don't think you're going to want to leave. And today we also have a very special guest that has sent in their regards to us, and I will turn that over pretty soon to Mayor Karen Bass. Under the new leadership of our Mayor Karen Bass, beautifying and cleaning our streets have always become priority, but this time it's really an emphasis on making sure that we help the unhoused get housed. And when we house the unhoused, it is our turn to go in there and clean the streets after that and maintain them after that, because we want to make sure that the streets are what they are for the folks to use them, to go in from places, for parents to walk with strollers, for dogs to walk with them, and for us to make sure that we keep them free and litter free. So with that, I want to turn it over now to Mayor Bass and our regards.
Hi, I'm Mayor Karen Bass, and I'm so pleased to join you for the 5th annual Keep Los Angeles Beautiful Conference and happy National Public Works Week. You're all here today because you care about cleaning and greening neighborhoods across our city. And regardless how you come at the work, as a nonprofit or a community leader, a youth advocate, or a public service, you are all committed to creating a more beautiful and sustainable Los Angeles. With that commitment and our collaboration, we can get the job done. As you know, we all have a personal responsibility to participate, and as ambassadors for our city, I hope you'll encourage everyone you know to tap into their community pride and get involved. And there are so many ways to participate in keeping LA beautiful, whether it's community and beach cleanups, tree planting events, working at a neighborhood garden, composting food waste, or using 311 to report the graffiti and illegal dumping that creates blight on our streets. So thank you for being here today and for all that you do. Together with locked arms, we're building a stronger, healthier, and happier Los Angeles.
Thank you, Mayor Bass, for your regards and the acknowledgement of our beautification conference. Like I said, it is highly even more important this year more than ever to make sure that we go out there and take a call of action. Our goal today is that you take something away from this day to make sure that you share it with your neighbors and your community on how you and everyone else can keep our city beautiful and litter free. Like I said earlier, Councilmember Lee has become our chair this year, and we're so excited to be under his leadership. And with that, I know that Councilmember Lee is here to send his regards. Councilmember Lee?
Thank you, Commissioner, and I just want to thank you because we have such a great working relationship. I'm very excited to be the chair of the Public Works Committee. That's something that really focuses on what I believe are the core services here in the city of Los Angeles. Good morning to everyone, and thank you all for joining us. As Commissioner said, I'm Councilmember John Lee. I'm the representative from the 12th District and the chair of the city's Public Works Committee. And as someone who has worked for the city of Los Angeles for well over 20 years, I have my share of experience with all of our city departments. And over those 2 decades, I've easily come to understand that every department in our city plays a critical role in making our city run. The Department of Public Works in particular, however, provides us with the infrastructure and work that literally makes our city and allows us to carry out our daily lives, whether you're driving to work on the roads maintained by the department or enjoying the shade from trees found on our streets as you walk along your neighborhood. Public Works is truly the cornerstone of the city of Los Angeles. And as the chair, I find it critically important to continue the committee's work of remaining on top of our most pressing problems and looking for innovative solutions that protect the integrity of our local neighborhoods that, together make up Los Angeles. And so in celebration of this week as National Public Works Week, allow me to share my personal gratitude for the men and women of the Public Works Department and their respective bureaus that literally keep our lights on and keep our city moving. Today's beautification conference is another example of the amazing things that the Public Works umbrella covers. Through the act of beautification, we give our city the chance to flaunt its good looks, and we protect our environment and green spaces, and we connect with residents in ways that remind them that they are an integral part of maintaining the city. I am proud to say that the residents who live in the 12th District have a strong presence when it comes to all matters that fall under beautification. We have volunteer groups who schedule daily cleanups around the community, residents who take it upon themselves to ensure that graffiti is reported and removed. And personally, my office has a team that quickly addresses overgrown weeds and abandoned bulky items. It makes a difference in our community, and so conferences like today that aim to make this type of involvement the norm throughout the city will only lead to making a more beautiful city. I hope that you'll find today's conference informative, and regardless of your level of involvement with maintaining and beautifying our city, that you will learn more about how you can get involved and contribute to the city's efforts, whether it's something as simple as learning how you can put together a community cleanup or learning about the city's new Organics LA program. I am certain that there's something today for everyone in attendance. I appreciate everyone taking the time to participate today. I hope that you enjoy yourself, and I obviously hope that you walk away with a little bit more knowledge than when you started. They're calling me into city council. So Commissioner, just want to say thank you for your leadership on this issue. And I'm sure we will see each other very, very, very soon. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Councilmember Lee. It was a pleasure to have you here. We're at 226 strong here and growing. So thank you for your words today. And we wish you all the luck out in City Council today. Thank you, everyone. Again, I applaud each and one of you for being here today. Like I said, we're at 226, 227 and growing. So there's quite a few folks that are joining us today. Thank you again. We'll stop with all the talking, as we say, and make sure that we get to work so that you can also be part of all of this. I'd like to end by thanking all of our partners that made today possible, Mayor Karen Bass and Councilmember John Lee for all their support in providing welcoming remarks, to the Keep Los Angeles Beautiful board members and the advisory committee. We have board members that are volunteer based, and if you're interested in becoming a board member, please reach out to Ana Huizar or Karina Casillas. But we have a KLAB board members that put this event and many others together. I also want to thank our panelists today. Thank you for your time and for your expertise that you'll be sharing today. And lastly, I want to thank also all the team at the Office of Beautification, Community Beautification, Paul Rocks, Jerry, Karina, Anna, Judith, for all their hard work that they did today. But I mostly and really strongly want to applaud you for attending, for being here today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being part of this. And thank you for taking that personal responsibility time on how you are going to make things better and help the city become not only beautiful, but just great again. And so I just want to say one last thing. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your day here at the conference. It's going to be a very joyful day. And stay tuned for the very last live stream where we're going to have a horticulturalist, Steve Liz, provide up to date, and you can ask your questions on how to grow your tomatoes, how to grow whatever you're growing at home, because this is the time to do that. So with that, I'll leave it so that you can enjoy the entire conference. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good rest of the day, and I applaud each and one of you.
Thank you so much, President Garcia. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ana Huizar, and I am also with OCB. So before beginning our panel, we're going to go ahead and do a quick raffle. We're going to be raffling off 2 rain barrels. So this year, we're going to be using an online tool to help us select 2 winners. If your name is called, verbally state your name, or you can also write it in the chat. If you're not present today, we'll go ahead and move on to the next person. So be ready. We're going to go ahead and do 2 raffles, or one raffle right now and 1 raffle at the end of the conference. So stay tuned, and I will turn it to Judith.
Good morning, everyone. It's Judith. I'm with the Office of Community Beautification. So I went ahead and entered everyone's names who registered before May 19th on a random selector. If you get selected, please go ahead and unmute yourself and let me know that you're here, or go ahead and write it on the chat. After that, please go ahead and email my colleague, Ana Huizar. She went ahead and put her email already on the chat. So we'll go ahead and start with the first one. Angela Lariva, are you here? Okay, we'll go ahead and select another name. Oh, Angela said yay. Okay, so Angela, please go ahead and email Anna. You're our first giveaway winner. Congratulations. Raul Espino, are you here? Is Raul here? Okay, let's do one more time. Is Juan here? Okay, I'll go ahead and select someone who's live. Stacy Collins, are you here? Stacy Collins, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Can you
Okay,
hear me?
congratulations. Yeah, congratulations. You're our second barrel giveaway winner. So please go ahead and email my colleague.
Where do I find that email?
My colleague is gonna go ahead and put in her email again.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Judith. Thank you, Judith, and congratulations to the winners. I will input my information on the chat again. We'll go ahead and connect after the conference. Please stay tuned. We will be raffling 3 more rainbows at the end of the conference. And we will now begin our first panel titled Beautification Opportunities to Beautify LA, which will be led by Karina Casillas. Karina, whenever you are ready.
Yes, thank you, Anna. Hello, everyone. I will be, checking in with our 3 panelists are here. I know I see Jerry, Miss Yami. Are you here, Yami?
I'm here.
Okay, and Rachel. All right, well, good morning, everyone. Again, this is Karina Casillas with the Office of Community Beautification. So I'm going to go ahead and have everyone, our 3 panelists, please introduce themselves. As a reminder, if you are listening in, please go ahead and mute yourself for the moment, and we will open up a Q&A portion at the end. And then again, for those who won in the raffle prize, please go ahead and email Ms. Anna Huizar for follow-up on how to obtain those. Okay, so first we have joining us Jerry Valido with the Office of Community Beautification. Jerry, if you could please wave hi. We also have Yami with the Department of Cultural Affairs, who helps us with our murals. And we have Rachel with City Plant. So this is a question for all 3 of you all. In your own words, if you could please tell us a bit about your programs and what opportunities do constituents in the city of LA have to beautify. We could go ahead and start with you, Jerry.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I was having a little audio issue here, so just trying to fix that up. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jerry Valido. I am the program manager for the Adopt a Median program. And the Adopt a Median program was created in the early 1990s as a method to assist constituents in the installation of public improvement and beautification projects in the public right-of-way. We work under the underlying agreement that's made between the constituent group and the city, that the Adopt a Median program will shepherd your project through the city review process, will advocate on its behalf before the Board of Public Works towards its adoption, and then we will waive the permit and revocable permit fees that you would normally have to pay. In turn, you as the community group will agree to maintain the project and the project site in perpetuity. Although there's no guarantee that your project will be approved, there's no cost to participate in the program, and you can apply as many times as you would like. So if you are a community group interested in applying for the Adopt a Median program, you can simply contact me and we can discuss your proposal.
Thank you, Jerry. Yami, would you like to go next, please?
Yes, thank you for having me. This is my first time at your conference. This is so great. My name's Yami Duarte. I'm in the murals program, which is part of the public art division. The division is about 12 of us, and that's part of the Department of Cultural Affairs. And I work with Jerry a lot. We both departments sort of have a partnership when it comes to maintenance. Also on the Adopt a Median program, when city artworks are proposed on public works property. And also we do mural registration. So I think a great way to beautify the city is if you're interested in installing murals, if you're a property owner, an artist, a community organizer, that you look into our registration process. You can go on our website. It's called muralsla.org. And essentially, we assist applicants in legalizing their murals so that maintenance is possible, because we do expect that anti-graffiti coating is applied. And so ensuring that that is archived in our database of murals, we're able to work with Public Works to power wash them and clean them. And I think that's really important bit of information. Also, we help with the approval of public art projects on city property as well. So I think I'd be so interested to answer any questions. I'm sure there's many out there at the end.
Yes, perfect. Thank you, Yami. Rachel, I believe if you're here, if you would like to go ahead and share. Just a reminder for the question in your own words, what opportunities do constituents in LA City have to beautify LA through the City Plans program?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Karina. Yes, I'm the Executive Director of City Plans. You can think of us as a nonprofit that was founded by the City of Los Angeles. We are funded by the Department of Water and Power. LADWP is our longstanding partner in urban forestry in Los Angeles and urban greening, by the Mayor's Office and housed under the Board of Public Works and the Office of Community. And at our core, we are an organization dedicated to growing a greener future for Los Angeles and future generations by inspiring Angelinos to plant, care for, and advocate for trees. We really work toward an LA where every single Angelino has equal access to trees and their benefits. And in Los Angeles, we have canopy inequity, which is, we're not the only city in the country, of course, that deals with this issue. But we understand that not all zip codes have the same access to green space. And so at our core, we really do try to focus on neighborhoods that have low canopy. Those residents living in those neighborhoods are what we broadly consider are on the front lines of climate change, and that they stand to be the most impacted by urban heat and the public health threats that can spark and cause. And so we plant about 20,000 trees, all for free every year. Again, funded by the Department of Water and Power, and we're a free tree program where any Angelino can go online to cityplants.org and order up to 7 free shade trees to be delivered straight to your door. You can choose from a list of drought-tolerant, native, and native adjacent, and a variety of species, depending on the space that you have in your property. And we'll deliver them and you plant them. And so we have a private property program, a street tree planting program, which is in high demand right now. We've seen an unprecedented level of interest in our programs since COVID. And so we plant about 3,000 street trees every year, and we work with our partners, a whole coalition of partners. City Plants, I'm here representing City Plants, but we are a team of currently 5, and a coalition, a collaborative of many organizations, some of which are probably on the call and many of which you probably know, including the LA Conservation Corps, Community, Koreatown Youth and Community Center, KYCC, LA Beautification Team, Northeast Trees, LA Community Garden Council, Community Services Unlimited, and others. These are longstanding partners in the city of LA that have planted trees for decades. And Tree People, how could I forget Tree People, of course, too, is in our coalition. And so depending on where you live in the city, there's one of those partners who can support getting trees into the ground in your neighborhood. And I'm really happy to be here. Thanks to the OCB team for putting this on, and happy to answer any questions about how to get access to our programs.
Perfect. Thank you, Rachel. So yes, we're definitely going to go into each of the programs into more detail. First, I'd like to jump back to Jerry. So our Adopt a Medium program, Even though median is in the name, we'd like to hear maybe what other kinds of projects have you seen that aren't necessarily medians, but still fall under the Adopt the Median program?
Sure, yeah, actually that's a really good point. The Adopt the Median program, when it was created in the early 90s, it was kind of created for the smaller constituent groups throughout the city who wanted to do little beautification projects on the traffic medians, where they wanted to do some landscaping and, you know, maybe clear up the brush, things of that nature. But in the last 30 years, it has grown and blossomed into this wonderful avenue for constituents to kind of let their creative juices flow. In the 7 years that I've been the program manager, I must say that we have had some very interesting and exciting projects that have come through our process. Some of the more memorable ones would be the Japanese American Memorial Obelisk that is located at Venice and Lincoln Boulevards in Council District 11. We have a very beautiful community signage and landscaping project that was just completed last year that we celebrated a few weeks ago with Councilmember Paul Krikorian in CD2 at Vineland in Whipple. There's a really, really nice town clock located in Council District 12. It's at 17708 Chatsworth Street in Granada Hills. So if you're ever by there, you might want to stop and take a look at that. It's really nice. And I would also have to say probably one of our bigger ones and more impressive ones would be the installation of 12 outdoor dining patios and parklets in the San Pedro downtown core in Council District 15. So if you're ever down in San Pedro, you'll see those all over the place, and they really turn out very nice. In addition to all of those, as Karina said, you know, we have had numerous landscaping and greening projects throughout the city that have added very nicely to LA's visual landscape.
Great, thank you, Jerry. I'm sure that gives all our attendees lots of ideas of what they can do as well. Along the same note, I would like to ask Yami, what do usually people choose to paint about when it comes to murals, or what stories do you see that people share?
Oh, there's so many. I think it's really hard to pick. We have about 2,000 murals archived in our database. And since the inception of the mural ordinance, which was in 2013, we've had over 150 murals legalized under that ordinance. It really depends on the neighborhood. I think that's a wonderful way to look at the city, is through its art. And really, it is fascinating to travel through the city to see how people express themselves and really change the landscape of the area through public art. I think that if I could focus on a particular piece, I think that what's interesting is when artwork memorializes the passing of people. I think that in that we are coming out of the pandemic, I think that maybe artwork is, murals specifically, we do have memorial murals, like for instance, Kobe Bryant, they were everywhere, or Nipsey Hussle, they were everywhere. And I think that is a beautiful way of, you know, the spirit of the city to mourn. And so that's one.
Great, thank you, Yami. And similar to, I know, Rachel, you probably spoke about this a little bit, but can you elaborate on more about the trees that you have available? Does it vary by season? Where can people look forward to planting trees as well?
Yeah, we get a lot of questions, and the number one I would say is how can I get free trees? How do I access the programs that we offer? And the second is which species of tree is best for the location that I have or the location that I'm planting, and it's totally dependent on whether we're talking about private property or street trees. That public right-of-way, the parkway as we call it here in Los Angeles. And we have different programs for each of those different jurisdictions. But our website walks you through. You can actually, there are profiles on every single species of tree, for both for private property program and the street tree program that we offer. And it connects you to a really incredible resource out of Cal Poly San Luis Obispo that goes into great detail on every single species, how much water it needs, what type of soil it prefers, how much sunlight it can stand, whether it's a full shade or full sun type of plant. And so what I like to encourage people to do is think about the space that you have and start with observation. Start by like looking at the space and thinking, okay, what's the soil quality here? How's the drainage? How does it feel in my hands? Does it crumble up, or is it really dry? Is it clay? Is it silt? Think about the soil. Think about how much sunlight the space gets, and how much space you actually have. What's the size of the space? In our arboriculture, there's a phrase, planting, we strive and try our very best to plant the right tree in the right space in the right location, and for the right reason, right? And so if you're looking for a tree to provide maximum shade, but you only have a 2-foot parkway, it's going to limit you to species that are of smaller stature. And so it's important to think about the tree species at full growth, not just when it comes to you in a 5-gallon or 15-gallon bucket. We need to think about how we can maximize that tree's life and make sure that it gets the care that it needs. So space, sunlight, amount of water, those are really good questions to be asking yourself as you're considering what species to plant and where, and whether it's a private property or public space tree. Yeah, I would start there. And then in terms of how to access our programs, so I did see a comment in the question or comment in the chat about trying to get a hold of our team, and I really do appreciate folks' patience. We, like I mentioned, have received unprecedented interest in our programs during COVID and beyond, and we're still actually working through quite a hefty backlog of requests that we received during the pandemic. But on our website, so our delivery program, where we can deliver shade trees to plant on private property straight to your door, that is still open and running thanks to the LA Conservation Corps. And so we have a custom software. If you go to cityplants.org and click on Get Free Trees for Your Yard, there's a customized software program that can be a little clunky, and so I can pop an email in the chat for you all to reach out to us if you need help navigating the software itself. And once you finish that application process online, or you can call our office for support walking through it, the Los Angeles Conservation Corps will deliver those trees to your home or to your apartment. And if you don't want to wait for that delivery, it can right now take about 6 to 8 weeks to get those trees to you once you sign up for the delivery program. We also have a tree adoption program where one of our many tree planting partners will come and set up shop at a community event. If that's a jazz festival or a farmer's market, whatever it may be, you can request to have City Plants and our partners come out with trees on hand to distribute for free to the public to take home that day. So that's also an option. And we do give away free fruit trees occasionally through that program as well, only through our adoption program. You can't order those online. But like I mentioned, our emphasis and our focus is on low canopy, historically disinvested communities, doing our very best to level the playing field in terms of access to green space and using the limited resources that we have to fight for shade and canopy equity in the city of Los Angeles.
Thank you, Rachel. Those are definitely all good things to keep in mind. Along that note too, Jerry, back to you. What is something you'd like for people to keep in mind when submitting an Adopt a Median proposal? And then really quickly while he sets up, just a reminder, we will be opening up the Q&A momentarily. So just a few more questions to help establish the programs more for you all. Jerry, go ahead.
Thank you, Karina. So in thinking about a response to this question, I tried to kind of solidify the things that would make it easiest for somebody to apply, I would say first and foremost, you want to connect with your council office. Work with the field deputy that is responsible for the area where you want to install your project. Eventually, you will need a letter of support from the council member for the project before it can be accepted into the Adopt a Median program. As I said earlier, allow your creative juices to flow when designing your project. Reviews and subsequent approvals are based on current city guidelines and ordinances. And although the Office of Community Beautification works as the administrative arm for the program, we don't really provide any kind of technical expertise. We're able to guide you to those city personnel who can give you the technical information that you need to bring your proposal into compliance. From the city side of things, we always have to think about liability. So that's something that you should think about as well in designing your project. A project that's installed on the public right-of-way should be something that will not be hazardous, nor have the potential to be hazardous to pedestrians or to motorists. One big thing that you want to take into account is the overall cost of your project. The overall cost of any Adopt a Median project cannot exceed $100,000. So if it's something that's going to be more than 100K, it would have to go through the normal over-the-counter permitting process. And the last thing I would suggest would be that the Adopt a Median program is not a program that provides funding for projects. However, that does not mean that you couldn't receive funding. So that's another good reason to align yourself with your council office. From time to time, they have been known to assist in the funding of these types of projects, you know, out of their discretionary funds, and it just never hurts to ask. So create a good partnership with the council office, and going forward, it could be very beneficial for you and your project.
Thank you, Jerry. I agree. Partnerships are always, I think, very important to the success of any of these 3 projects and programs mentioned here. With that in mind and helping people establish good projects, Yami, what would you say are some of the most common questions you get around your program, of course, specifically for murals?
Yeah, Jerry actually reminded me to mention something about funding. So that is a question. Artists want to know how they can get resources to install their works. And we are releasing a call for artists, muralists, individual muralists and muralist teams who reside in LA County, who want to install new murals on city property. I'm sorry, city property, private property, but within the city of LA. So we'll be releasing that in July. So keep your eyes peeled. If you sign up to our mailing list, there's a button on muralsla.org. That's our website. You'll get notification of the call for ideas. And so that is one way of accessing funding. That's for new murals. And then we also will be having releasing our second call for conservation projects, so or restoration projects. So if a property owner or artist have a mural that they need to repair and they need funding, they would apply through this program. So the name of the program is Mural Works, and that call for conservation will be released in the fall. So we get those kinds of questions. How can I find funding? You know, sometimes the question is as simple as, how do I find a wall? And so it's fascinating in this job to see just the breadth of types of artists and how they work with property owners in the business. Sometimes you just have to go knocking on doors. That's one way. The other way is really building a website and presence and sharing your portfolio and doing it that way, or friends and family or things like that. Also, you can go to neighborhood councils, you know, get involved in your neighborhood, learn you know, learn and shake hands and network like any other business, right? And then lots of registration questions. How do I register my mural? And then sometimes we get questions, is my mural registered, for instance, on my property? Also, maintenance is an issue. So if a mural gets defaced, then they'll call our office or call Jerry's office, and then we'll work together, Jerry and I, in cleaning the mural if it's registered, if it's coded, and, you know, working together with the property owners to register their murals. So I can go on and on, but I'll stop there.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Yami. Now, I do notice that there are definitely a lot of questions, so let's move forward into the Q&A. I do see two raised hands in the queue, and then I think we'll start with those in the chat. So first on the queue, I see Leslie, did you have a question regarding one of our beautification opportunities?
No, I was having trouble hearing, but I figured it out. So thank you.
No worries. Next on the queue, I see, apologies if I pronounced this wrong, Miss Anzujan.
You pronounced it perfectly well. Thank you. My question is for Mr. Valido in the median program. Because LA has a well-recognized notoriety for this sort of concrete sealing and breaking that cycle between the soil moisture being taken up by plants and respirated out of the leaves into the atmosphere, and that we have this prolonged arid season of 8 months without rain typically. It's really critical that we sort of reintroduce vegetation and shade trees just to help restore the water cycle. But a critical element of that, which we saw very pointedly this past winter, is that so much rainfall that falls on impervious roads and sidewalks is lost at each rainfall event. And there's data from around the country, from cities both in the Northwest and in the Midwest and in the East, that says that even tiny sort of median and parkway strip best management practices using nature, using plant roots to help infiltrate the available rainfall runoff from roads and streets into the ground can help recharge the groundwater and help sort of reestablish that ecological cycle between soil and atmosphere. And I was just wondering if the office that you're working in, Mr. Valido, has any kind of coordination with the other offices, such as the street services or Department of Sanitation, to capture the enormous amount of rainfall runoff that runs off as stormwater straight out into the ocean, rather than being able to sort of enter the curbs and the median curbs through curb cuts and such, so that that water could be used to recharge the groundwater underneath the medians and wherever the parkway strips are. So curb cuts were the primary way in which that water was captured in the other cities, and they captured a lot of that stormwater runoff, which is highly beneficial. And I'm just wondering if there's any coordination at all with the relevant other city agencies responsible for the curbs in our cities. And thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. That was a very articulate and highly technical question. And I'll start off by saying the Adopt a Median program, in my capacity as the program manager, is a strictly administrative position. In answer to your question, in short, we do partner with the other bureaus in public works. So everything you named, street services, sanitation, those are our partner bureaus in the Department of Public Works. Any type of landscaping project that comes through our office, any type of landscaping proposal for those median islands does go through a review by the Bureau of Street Services. So we have the experts over there, the landscape architects, review that type of information. Irrigation is always an important thing when it comes to those types of projects. The response that I think you're looking for would probably better be answered by one of my colleagues at engineering in regards to the curb cuts and the water capture, probably from the Bureau of Street Services. So if you would like to email me, I can put you in touch with those people, because I couldn't give you a really formulative answer in regards to that subject. So my email is jerry.valido, GERRY .VALIDO, jerry.valido at lacity.org. And please feel free to give me an email, and I'll try to connect you with the proper people.
Thank you, Jerry. And yes, also, as Jesse also mentioned in the chat, the Safe Clean Water program might also be beneficial to that idea. Moving back onto the queue, next on the list, I do see Ms. Carol Hart. And then also a quick note before Carol, you speak, we have noted all the questions in the chat as well. We will try to get to all of those in a timely manner. If for whatever reason we run out of time, do note we will be, if you'd like to send us an email as well, Judith or my colleague Anna can provide that OCB email address where you can also follow up on any of your questions. In the meantime, Carol Hart, you had a question?
Yes, I hope that worked. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Very good. I'm not putting my face on because I'm not feeling too well today, so you don't need to look at that. I am calling because I do want to be more resilient and help encourage other neighbors to be more resilient. The only part of my yard that's really sunny is my front yard. So I would love to turn it into a wonderful garden where I can grow my own food. I am a very low-income senior and having difficulty making ends meet. So growing some of my own food is very important to me. I know that in the past, I've gone to many water events because I was LADWP MOU rep for my neighborhood council. And now I volunteered to become the Bureau of Public Works rep for now with my neighborhood council. And so I'm looking forward to getting more answers. It's the best way to learn how each department works is to join one of your work groups and participate even as a citizen, someone who's not an engineer. One thing I'm concerned about is the cost of water. And if I'm putting it in the ground, I am in fact feeding our aquifers ultimately, in addition to the plants that I hope to be growing. And I hope that there is a way that we can find so that individual citizens are not paying the extra sewer fees for water that's not going through the sewer system at all. Obviously, there's a place at the front of the house where the city water meets the house water, and I wonder if there's any sort of a plan for those who want to green up their entire property and plant those trees. And yes, I would like shade trees, and yes, I would like fruit trees, and not just for my generation, but for whomever buys the house after I'm gone. And being in the front yard, I intend to fully educate and tell all of the neighbors that this is the best way to make our community more resilient in the face of any future unforeseen crises. We need to be more resilient, and we need to teach our children how to grow food. It doesn't come in styrofoam. It doesn't come wrapped in plastic. It comes out of the ground when it's really good for us. So that's my question, is how can we make this more doable? And as a low-income senior, it's very difficult for me. I definitely don't have $100,000 to invest in a greening and beautification project. Now, I'm also working with Cal State Northridge with the Department of Urban Studies and Planning. And I've been working with them for the last 3 years or so. They did put together a wonderful resiliency plan for North Hills West Neighborhood Council. And this last year, groups of students divided in two. One worked very hard on putting together how we can create our own local farmers market. And then the other worked on a beautification project for a place that is basically the Bureau of Street Services crosses over an aqueduct for Bull Creek Wash. And right now it's nothing but concrete with 8 barren, unirrigated planters. For 8 years, I have tried to get the irrigation turned back on unsuccessfully because the city wants to know who's going to pay for that water. Well, I consider it a city park, a parklet, and I'd like to see it get greened up again. I'd like to see native plants planted in those planters and little platelets that show the children what each of these plants are. And it will support our pollinators and our natural wildlife. So that is going to be coming your way, I guarantee it.
Thank you, Carol. I think there's definitely a lot of points there. I know on a few of those, we can definitely follow up individually as it does relate to private property. In regards to the parklet, I think Jerry can definitely follow up with that privately. So if you can go ahead and email or leave your contact information as well, and then we're happy to reach out.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank
I'll
you.
put my private email since I'm actually in the process of transferring because I changed boundaries. I no longer live in North Hills West Neighborhood Council, although I still care about it. Now I'm in Granada Hills South Neighborhood Council. So, but that's okay because my neighbors are my neighbors. I don't care what side of the border they live on. So I'll give you my personal email. Thank you.
We'll be reaching out. Next on the list, I do see Motor Avenue.
Hey guys, thank you so much for putting this together. These are some of the best programs our city has, and this is such a great time to celebrate them. I just wanted to be to put this out there that we are getting a little more bureaucratic as time goes on, and I want to make sure our programs are user friendly. I think our city clerk, our city attorney, when they get their hands into this, it gets a little bit unwieldy. And I want to be real careful. And I'll give you one example. We put out, again, I'm Lee Wallach with the Motor Association in Palms here. We do a lot of electrical boxes with our neighborhood council. They're little teeny art projects that really change the face of our community. They're volunteers most of the time that are doing this. We have young folks that are, working at the local grocery store or restaurant that just want to put a little of their art out there in the community. And we're asking for assignment of rights and business licenses, letters of agreement, and release of art, all this different stuff that's just getting to be a little bit much. Again, these are volunteers going out there doing this stuff. We give them a few bucks for supplies. How can we lessen the amount of bureaucracy and maybe recategorize some of these quick and easy little projects that do mean so much to us, so they're not in the same category as a huge art installation, or it's not the same category as a professional that's getting out there and putting a sculpture up somewhere. How can we make this a little more user friendly?
Right. I think I'm going to refer to my colleague Jerry to help answer in regards to why we need the paperwork, even when it comes to sharing public art. So Jerry, go ahead.
Hi, Lee. Good to see you, my friend. Good question. And if Yami wants to jump in on this one as well, Yami, please feel free. The thing about it, Lee, is especially when it comes to these traffic control cabinets, for all intents and purposes, the Department of Transportation owns these cabinets. And when they have imagery placed upon them, you have to understand that public artwork is federally protected. So the thing that happens is that when the artwork is placed on the cabinet, that's fine and it looks beautiful, but then it becomes a maintenance nightmare when nobody maintains it after it's been tagged with graffiti. The proper way to go through the process is to actually connect with the Department of Transportation, The artist will sign a form, and on that form they agree to maintain the cabinet should it get vandalized. More often than not, that doesn't happen. So I think that's why DOT wants to make sure, and the council office wants to make sure that the appropriate people are, signing off on their waivers and things of that nature, because we have been at the Office of Community Beautification, we have been approached by artists who are very upset that we had to remove their imagery from particular services, but they had, initially signed an agreement and they didn't keep up their end of the agreement. So it's all about liability and protection when it comes down to it. If you're going to put something on city property, that's just the nature of the beast. I'm sorry to have to say.
Well, it just, again, I just want to make sure that we keep in mind somewhere that sometimes the folks that aren't intimately involved with this, like a clerk or a city attorney, might go a little bit above and beyond. We have situations we're dealing with like this, and we're all familiar with those larger projects. The smaller ones are getting a little uncontrollable. Even my parklets, we have 2 of them. The contract was 200 pages.
Well,
thank you very much for thinking about that.
Yeah, I think, and of course, if there's any further details, we're happy to elaborate either via phone, via email, or to set up a meeting. I'd like to move on next on the Q&A queue, though I will make note, I know we are running short on time. For a lot of these questions, actually, you can go ahead and submit a request on 311, specifically as it relates to tree trimming, as I noticed in some of the comments, or litter pickup. Next on our Q&A, I do want to bring to the podium Ms. Elvina. I see you have your hand
Hi,
raised.
everyone. Yeah, thank you so much. I actually work with Jerry. He's probably sick of hearing from me. I successfully have a planter on Venice Boulevard from 2022, just 2 years ago, and the neighbors actually funded it. It cost me $800, so a lot less than the higher allotment that it said was the max. And it was all funded by neighbors off of next door. And I can't stress the importance of getting your council member, your field deputy, to sign off on it, because I really couldn't go on without having Mike Bonin at the time write me a letter of support, and also now Mitchell Farrell, CD13. So it doesn't matter if they're no longer in office. It's just when your application is in there. So I've already emailed one of the persons on the messages. If anyone wants to know my experience as far as the application side, I do understand the bureaucratic portion of, there's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of signage, but I also understand Jerry's point of view, where it's like, this is the city's land, and also it's free to apply, right? So it's like, you kind of have to put time into it. So I guess my only question, because this is a Q&A, other than saying my name is Elvina at podshare.com, if anyone wants to hear from the experience side, is so recently I was told that I wasn't allowed to do wood planters. Not a huge deal for me. I work in construction, as you can see. So I can easily change that to concrete overnight. And actually, it's actually cheaper, since 400% increase in lumber costs. But I guess I want to know why we can't do, I mean, and the answer is splinters and molds, right? Why we can't do wood planters, where I was denied wood planters. But Jerry, do you have any more thoughts on like material lists and about how to kind of get like the material list up front? Because I went pretty far in my application process only to hear that I can't do wood planters after I've already done wood planters. So I don't know, what do you think about the wood planters thing? Because every planter is a wood, you know what I mean? It's like kind of common sense.
No, Elvina, you have a very good point in that regard, and I have for a while now had a couple other constituent groups approach me to try and get information upfront from engineering. So I actually now in the near future, I'm going to be getting together with the folks over there, especially the gentleman that you've been working with, Tanat, who runs the revocable permits counter. I'm going to see if they can try to put together some kind of form or listing that I can add to the OCB website under the Adopt a Median link, where you all can kind of see what is allowable and what is not allowable. Again, that's more of a technical aspect type of thing that engineering has to kind of put together and bless. but I will definitely bring that up to them because it seems to be a little bit more of a common thing nowadays as constituent groups are getting more and more creative with what they want to do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. We do need to start wrapping up, but I would like to ask Rachel, maybe if you could also share where someone can find a list of any upcoming adoption events for trees. I noticed people are very excited for those trees. So just anything you'd like to leave the audience here with in terms of how to access that, at least for in-person events.
Yeah, so all of our adoptions, they just popped a link in the chat. All of our free tree adoption events are posted on our calendar. And I just pop the link where you can check those out. It'll indicate whether it's a fruit, if the particular adoption has fruit trees or not. And we also post all of our volunteer tree planting opportunities there as well. So just last weekend, actually, we hosted the city's annual Arbor Day celebration where we get together with all of our partners. And I did forget to mention when I was talking about the collaborative nature of our work that we work very, very closely. One of our partners is also LA Sanitation and Environment. Their tree planting grant writing team is able to oftentimes secure state or federal funding to leverage the funding for trees that we do have and cut up concrete to kind of start to tug at Ansu's question. So to cut concrete and to pay for tree maintenance through the establishment period, particularly in disadvantaged communities. So I want to just circle back and make sure that I gave LA Sanitation the proper shout out. But every year we host our Arbor Day celebration, and that's one of many volunteer events in addition to our tree planting or tree adoption program. So our calendar has everything. I would suggest signing up for our mailing list, and I'll pop that in the chat too. We don't spam folks. It's a very irregular newsletter that comes out when we have really cool opportunities that we want to share with the world and with the region. So feel free to sign up for that as well.
Thank you, Rachel. And I think also for the audience, just a reminder, they do have to be located within LA City. And Rachel, what are some of the verifications we ask for our constituents to provide when picking up a free tree?
Yeah, great question. So you do have to live in the city of Los Angeles or have LADWP as your utility provider. It's a great way of figuring that out if you're unsure. But we ask for name, phone number, email. We do conduct a random sample and survival study of trees that we give away or plant in our program every 2 years with DWP. So it's important that we get your contact info to come and check in on the tree or call and ask you about the health of your tree. We ask for some pretty interesting data that sometimes confuses folks, but how many stories does your property have? When was it built and what type of air conditioning unit or system do you have? And the reason we ask that is because trees help save energy. We're actually funded by DWP's Energy Efficiency Division and have been for many years. So for every tree that we plant, and the reason we have that customized software, we actually calculate the kilowatt hours saved in the adjacent building over the course of that tree's life. We project that out and we report it back to both DWP and actually the California Energy Commission eventually. So we really try to focus in on getting the details about how much, so we can help with that analysis and that projection of how much energy we can save through tree planting. In addition to the myriad of other benefits that, you know, shade, lowering urban, mitigating the urban heat island effect and lowering urban temperatures, creating just more beautiful, resilient, and safe communities. Cleaning our air, all of the good things that trees do. I always say that they're the powerhouse of the city, just like the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. And yeah, I think I hit on your question, Rena.
I think you did great. Thank you so much, Rachel. Again, thank you to all of our panelists. I do know we have a series of additional questions. So as a reminder, because we do have to move on for our next panel, please go ahead and email us at bpw.communitybeautification@lacity.org. In addition, if you'd like, you can also give us a call at 213-978-0228. Any questions or email, please feel free to follow up there. We're happy to answer and follow up with any of those. In the meantime, I would like to pass it on to Ms. Huizar for our next speakers.
Thank you so much, Karina and panelists. What a great panel with so much information. I'm so glad we were able to respond to a lot of your questions. But like Karina said, please send us an email. We didn't get to your question. Well, now we're going to turn it into what we call Program Spotlight, which we will highlight we will have an overview of the Clean LA and River Rangers program. And that will be led by Principal Project Coordinator Devin Satorsky. Devin, please take it away.
Hi, Anna. Thank you, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Excited to be here and highlight two of our Office of Community Beautification programs that are somewhat new to OCB. Let me share my screen. And let's present. So our first program we're going to be talking about today is the Clean LA Jobs Program. Clean LA is our full-time jobs program it provides employment opportunities to disadvantaged Angelenos that help clean and green throughout the city. So Clean LA started in August of 2021, and it's another cleaning program that OCB runs that we're really excited about, and we've seen great progress. Here are some metrics on the screen of the employees we currently have and our graduates and folks hired by LA Sanitation. So Clean LA is our employment program, and different than some of our other cleaning programs, this is a great program because as participants are enrolled, they work 12 months with one of our OCB contractors with paid on-the-job training where they go out and clean the streets. And then after 12 months working with us, or 19-20 hours, we refer them to a position as maintenance labor with LA Sanitation. And it's a really exciting opportunity for folks to get into city employment after they've learned, how to clean and beautify our cities and help the areas in the city with the greatest need. So like I said, this program was designed to target the highest need communities and areas that were really like litter hotspots, illegal dumping hotspots. So when the program was founded, we worked with LA Sanitation to identify specific corridors that needed regular and routine and continued maintenance to ensure that these corridors and these streets weren't going to continue to be burdened by illegal dumping and by continuous littering. So with this program, we have crews assigned to their weekly corridors. They have a different corridor every Monday, Tuesday, every day of the week. And they go out there and they really learn the corridor and what is needed and how to clean it and what are the problems. Is it illegal dumping? Is it a lot of weeds? And identify those hotspots and are really proactive on these corridors to ensure that our services are regular and proactive and we can see progress along the corridors. So we service right now 10 out of the 15 council districts, and that is because based on the CleanStat data, which LA San provides, that is what was identified, and we are going to be expanding the program more starting July 1st, which is very exciting. The Mayor Bass awarded us additional funding, so we're super excited to hopefully expand and see how this program can grow. And one of the other big highlights we do emphasize with Clean LA, in addition to cleaning the streets and beautifying the city, is really this workforce development piece and providing Angelenos who may have had hard time finding work. We have folks who were coming out of the prison system who maybe never had a job or thought they'd have an opportunity at a career like this. So that's also a really exciting thing we want to highlight, giving these folks the opportunity to not only have a job, but learn a skill and turn this into a full-time career. So that's, we have participants in the Clean LA program that represent 12 of the 15 council districts in the city. So like I said, the key program goals are to provide folks with a full-time career after 1 year of paid employment with one of our CBOs. And they conduct cleaning services along the public right of way. Really special, like I said, because they're providing that job opportunity with a future career, and they get to see the benefit of their hard work directly, you know, as they clean the streets, and they can be proud of the work they do. So we're partnered with 4 of our amazing CBOs, who I see some of you on the line. We're partnered with CRCD, KYCC, Northeast Graffiti Busters, and NDFY. I see some folks on the line. So if you're here, thank you so much. We appreciate your partnership every day. Your crews are out there doing amazing work. So here are some photos from our Clean LA program over the last year or so. And our 5 keys to success that we measure is, what are the locations serviced? So we track this in our database so we can see where the crews are at all times. Either are they picking up trash? Are they doing weed abatement? Are they picking up bulky items? We measure how much trash they remove from the streets. We measure how many participants are in the program. I think right now we have about just over 100, which is exciting. How many active employees? And then we have a youth portion and an adult portion. So we measure through that. And then very quickly, I'm going to change my tab to show y'all a video. Is that popping up, Anna? Share this tab.
Yes, it's great, Devin.
Great. A little just quick video on our Clean LA program. So great. Like I said, you can really see through that video that our crews are doing great work. You can see the before and after pictures very clearly that they are out there putting in the work, working long hours and long days to keep our city clean and beautiful. And I just want to give a shout out to Felicia Orozco, who I believe is on the call. She is our Clean LA program manager, and Gabriel Gutierrez, also an OCB, who's one of our project coordinators on the Clean LA program. And they are really behind the scenes making sure this program runs effectively, and they work very closely with our partners and our CBOs to make sure this work is continued, and we're giving folks an opportunity for a great career, and also while making a difference in keeping LA clean. And I see some questions in the chat, and I will share the flyer too at the end of this for how folks can be part of Clean LA. And then also you can feel free to contact me. I'll put my email in the chat about how to partner with OCB if you're one of our contractors, if you're interested in the Clean LA program. So the next program we're highlighting, which is very similar to Clean LA, but specifically for the river, it's our LA River Rangers program, which is a new program we're excited just launched recently this year. So the LA River Rangers program, similar to Clean LA, will be caring for 18 miles of public space along the LA River. The crews will start in the West Valley at the headwaters over on Owens Mouth and Lake Victory at the LA River. And then their goal is to service trails and paths in public spaces, bike paths, walking trails, pedestrian areas, heading east throughout the valley. Ultimately, we don't have crews deployed yet in the Sepulveda Basin, but the goal is to get crews in the Sepulveda Basin and then down throughout Griffith Park and into the Elysian Valley and Glendale Narrows area. So the River Rangers is an opportunity for young Angelenos to give back to the city and restore the river and make sure it's clean and there's no, debris and trash getting into the river, ruining the waterway. So on our LA River Rangers program, we're partnered with the LA Conservation Corps and the Board of Public Works and OCB. So we have 3 crews deployed at the moment, which is great. We're excited. So if you're out walking the LA River, you might see some River Ranger crews out there. Say hi, tell them thanks for removing graffiti, cleaning up the weeds, making it look nice and the bike paths safe. We have 2 crews operating out of the valley right now and 1 crew operating out of Northeast LA. So this program is specifically designed for youth ages 18 to 26 to provide these maintenance services and perform cleanups along the LA River and just being out there and being stewards of the river and helping, the whole master river revitalization. So here's some key program goals, like similar to Clean LA, provides job skills training and paid employment, servicing these public paths, making it a clean, friendly, publicly accessible, and safe space for Angelenos to utilize and beautify the LA River. So there's an email there if you're interested. Again, I'll put my email in the chat so you can contact me if you want to learn more about the program. And we're really excited to get this one launched and have just as much success as Clean LA has. So that is all I have.
Thank you so much, Devin. And I know a lot of people have a lot of questions. So I think everyone has questions. Please contact Devin for either program and she will be happy to help you. But thank you so much, Devin. Both programs have already contributed to the city in so many ways. We will be starting our next panel in about a minute or so. So I know it's lunchtime, so please grab your snack, your food, join us, and we will begin shortly. Paul, we are ready whenever you are ready.
And Anna, I just want to give one last shout out while my PowerPoint is up. Roman Rodriguez is our project coordinator on River Rangers. So he's launched this program off the ground. So we're super excited to have him on board too.
Wonderful. And Devin, maybe you can check out some of the questions on the chat because I know that was one that was really important. They're asking if the program's ending. So if we want to address them, that would be great.
Okay, great.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Paul, whenever you're ready.
Okay. I guess we'll just keep on rolling. We're pretty much right on time. So welcome, everyone. My name is Paul Roch. I'm the director of the Office of Community Beautification. It's my pleasure to be the moderator for our littering and personal responsibility panel. We have 3 excellent speakers that are great examples of volunteers in the city of Los Angeles and different ways that they've gone about addressing beautification and cleanliness in different parts of the city. So let me introduce them, and we can then get right into our panel. Hopefully they are all still here. I know they have been at one point or another, so we should hopefully see them pop up. First, we have Michael Klubach, who is the executive director of the Malibu Foundation, and he coordinates programs in elementary schools focused on pollution and trash in the ocean. And each year, his program culminates in the annual Kids Ocean Day cleanup at Dockweiler Beach, which brings about 4,000 to 5,000 school kids, LAUSD school kids, down to volunteer for beach cleanups. Next on our panel is Jill Mather, president and founder of Volunteers Cleaning Communities based in the San Fernando Valley. Jill has developed multiple programs to involve community members in their communities and neighborhoods to help the environment and clean up trash, and has produced some tremendous outcomes as a volunteer focusing on cleaning up the city. And her program, Volunteers Cleaning Communities, was awarded the California Nonprofit of the Year Award in 2022. And our third panelist is Lee Wallach, founder of Motor Avenue Improvement Association, which seeks to improve the quality of life in the community of Palms out in West LA by assertively promoting the community's interest and facilitating community services and programs. The Motor Avenue Improvement Association works to maintain and enhance the appearance and safety in the neighborhoods, and is another great example of volunteers taking on an active role in the beautification efforts in the city of Los Angeles. So I do see Lee is here. Just for confirmation, do we have Jill and Michael? Are they here as well?
I'm here.
Great. And Michael?
He might be on mute. Let's see.
He might be on mute. If you can kind of maybe touch base. And he did text me just a couple minutes ago. So.
How's that? Oh, there it is.
Ah,
Okay.
there you are. Okay, great. So we have everybody. There's Michael, there's Lee, and there's
Can you
Jill.
get us all together here? Is it
All right,
possible?
yeah. I see all three of you guys. I don't know if everyone can, but thank you. So first question, discussion topic is littering in public places is recognized as a widespread problem throughout the United States, which can lead to significant adverse environmental and socioeconomic impacts. So can each of you please tell us a little bit about yourself and your organization and what it is that motivated you to get started? Michael, we'll start with you. If you want to give us a quick overview.
You know, I'm a sailor, and yeah, back in the 80s, I was sailing my catamaran and off the beaches, and saw trash, more trash. In the ocean, trash on the beach. Started getting involved with beach cleanups, and then just through the organizations that I got involved with, the Santa Monica Bay Restoration Project, Heal the Bay, Coastal Commission, got myself doing beach cleanups, and just thought, oh wow, wouldn't it be a great idea? Let's get more kids. So that's been going on for 30 years of going to schools, talking to kids about the trash in the ocean, making the storm drain connection for them, and bringing them out to the beach. And then, of course, I did some, deeper thinking on that, and this is going a little deep, but I was thinking, well, what was it a kid that I wanted to, in my confusing little world, what did I want to do? And I wanted to keep things nice and orderly and nice and clean. And so there it is for 30 years. My survival mechanism has been do not litter and keep things neat and orderly. And I find myself teaching kids that very, very prime message of just don't drop it in the first place. Do not litter. And so that's the quick.
All right. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michael. Jill, how about you?
So mine came out of retirement. Actually, I have always been in the restaurant business and as VP of Training and Development. And in the restaurant business, you teach people to never step over any trash that's on the rug or floor of a restaurant as an employee. And so all my life, I've been training that to employees. It kind of transited into my retirement, but it was not something I expected to do, form volunteers cleaning communities 2.5 years ago. But during COVID, that's when I retired, went out for my walk, my 4-mile walk, saw trash just like Michael, decided to take a bag with me and pick it up as I went on my 4 miles. And every day I'd walk the same pattern, and every day I'd pick up from 2 to 4 bags of trash. And I said, we have a serious problem here. So I started inviting people in my neighborhood through social media to join me, and 12 people joined me my first time. And I said, well, obviously other people feel like I do. I adopted the highway, the 118, before I ever formed my organization. And we still have that. We're clean 3.5 miles on the 118 every Saturday with my group. And anyway, 4 months after I started getting people together, we decided to do a nonprofit, 501c3, which is Volunteers Cleaning Community, VCC at short. Right now I have over 200 active every day, every week, working with me. We do cleanups 5 to 6 days a week. I was just on one this morning with 12 people. And we clean the freeway, we clean the streets, illegal dumping. Yesterday, we did a huge illegal dumping site. We do abandoned homeless sites when we see them. Anything that's trash, we pick it up and have a most amazing group. And that's what we do.
Great. Thank you, Jill. And Lee, how about you? Whoop, you're on mute, Lee.
That might help.
There we go.
Well, I'm honored to be on this panel with folks such as this. I've made note, and then we'll have to get together and trade some trade secrets here. Like the others, just started not particularly liking what I was seeing. And, people yell and scream all the time, and they ask, who's going to do something about this? Well, that's you, the person asking the question. And so we decided to stand up and do something about it here in Palms. I actually grew up on motor since I was 3 years old. And after working all over the place, and I do large scale solar and some other stuff, we started the Motor Avenue Improvement Association. And we started our farmers market and urban garden programs. We have gardens, native plant gardens, community gardens, gardens that we built at the local school. We have our parklets, 2 of the first in the city, murals. We have an unhoused work and nutrition program, little libraries. And then, of course, our street cleanup programs. We received some trash cans about 15 years ago from the city. Most of them are the same ones. And we have them lining the streets. So folks walking up and down will hopefully throw stuff in there instead of on the curb. We monitor those and we go and clean them up every week. And it's a combination of volunteers and some folks from our homeless community. And those from our unhoused and homeless community, we pay them. And I wish I knew about this Clean LA program. I don't know how I don't know about it. I pride myself on knowing more, but I will be getting involved there. But it's a wonderful program, and it encourages some of the residents and businesses on our street as well to get out and, play their part. We've kind of lost that a little bit. The shopkeeper getting out on the curb and sweeping up in front of their business. But thank goodness we have a dedicated group that gets out there under our freeway underpass all the way to Venice, and Venice is becoming a bit of a problem. But it really is a wonderful program that we will continue to grow and push and help our community. Because if we just do the murals, if we just do the libraries, if we're just doing everything but we're letting it get trashed, it's not going to be the community that we can be proud of and take pride in.
All right, great. Thank you, Lee. All right, next question for each of you. What impact do you feel that your organization has had on littering in public spaces? Michael, we'll go back to you.
Well, over the years, so we've been going to mostly elementary schools here in LA for the last 30 years, and spoken to maybe 700,000 kids with our presentation, and actually seen over 100,000 get to the beaches. We have 4,000 kids coming out to Dockweiler this Thursday. Could always use volunteers for sure. I think the impact is, of course, the numbers and the knowledge that we've outreach to these kids. But what I'm starting to see is at the end of each assembly, I ask the kids, "What did you learn today?" And kids are pretty bright, and they go, "Oh, I learned to recycle." And I said, "Come on, you already knew about that." "Well, I learned about plastic in the ocean." And I said, "Yeah, you already knew about that." And so one kid that I said that to, "You already know about plastic in the ocean. Come on, what did you learn today?" And then they reveal, "I didn't realize how much." So I think that's something that's shifting. The kids are aware of, do not litter. They've been told that, but they don't really realize how much trash is going onto our streets and out into the ocean, and they're impacted in a deeper way. And also, you know, when I go to the schools, the kids are aware. They're aware in general, but this new element has really impressed me with the kids' reaction to our presentation. That they're really seeing that there is a really huge problem, and they're wanting to do something about it. So yeah, that's for me. Yeah.
Great, thank you, Michael. Jill.
It's years ago, I was not involved in my community at all because I was working 80 hours a week for 40 years, and so there was no time. And I learned through joining this, building an organization, that you really had to network yourself. And I have tried to do that with every possible thing that I can do by joining clubs, chambers, neighborhood councils, Keep LA Beautiful board, all kinds of avenues, because my goal, or VCC's goal, is to change the mindset of littering in Americans. That's my ultimate goal for the rest of my life. And my mom's 99 and still working, so I have a long life to do that with. But it is with the kids. So Michael, starting with kids and the education he's been doing for 30 years is absolutely essential. VCC solicits and does huge service day projects with schools, like Chaminade. We have a monthly one with Notre Dame. And it's such an exciting thing to see the schools call me and say, can you organize a service day or a cleanup with our kids? Because the kids are going to inherit this earth, and they got to know that there's trash on it, and they've got to realize that picking up trash is not a punishment. When I went to school, if you were in detention, and I was a goody two-shoes, so I never got to detention, but you picked up trash. That was your punishment for your 1 or 2 hours. So picking up litter isn't considered glamorous by any means, and it actually is considered as a punishment. Some parents still believe that. So we have to change that mindset in the kids and realize that it's fun. So what we've done is we've created fun events for kids to go to. For instance, we do an all-street cleanup twice a year. That means we go from one side of the San Fernando Valley on the east, all the way to the other side of the San Fernando Valley on the west. Ventura was 17.5 miles that we did in 2 hours with 250 volunteers from all of those communities across the valley. And we gave them souvenir t-shirts that were fun, all the equipment. They got a free ice cream social afterwards with face painting that was free. All these fun things that the kids could rally around. Not only was trash picking up fun because you're with people doing something fun and good for the environment, good exercise, and then you get rewarded at the end as well. So I'm finding that that's helpful to get the kids involved, and my senior volunteers are very happy with that as well. But your neighborhood councils, your councilmen, the supervisor, everybody's got to be rallying around you in order to help you get the message across with their service days, like Jesse Gabriel's service day or Bob Blumenfield's service day or whoever they are, and getting the word out by having the booths and publicizing that you're there to help them become part of their community and to give back to their community because it's ours.
Great, thank you, Jill. Lee, what impact do you feel your organization has had on littering in public spaces?
Well, the obvious is we're helping, this community to look cleaner, the thousands and thousands of tons, and we don't even come close to measuring it as well as I wish we did, but huge bags that come. And there's probably 24 of those that we're picking up a couple times a week. So there's that physical impact, but the real impact comes down to changing the entitled nature of some of our community. And, we get a lot of folks that say, I pay taxes. This is the city's problem. This isn't my problem. And what we want to help to do is change that mindset so they feel like this is my community and I bear some of that responsibility. It's a personal responsibility that we all have. And I've seen that change. I've seen that impact and that mindset change. And that's probably one of my greatest joys. We've also taught a lot of our folks about the amazing things that the city is doing. We get bags, that we're filling from the city. 311 is one of the greatest things this city does. Our guys that do bulky pickup, they're the greatest guys ever. They take pride in their job. I stop and talk to them. I thank them for what they're doing, and I hope more of us that are on this call will continue to do that. When you see those guys out there, we need more cans. We actually have a real crisis in this city. Sanitation is underfunded. They are also under man and woman. They are desperately in need of staff, and we need to send people there for good paying jobs to help our sanitation program do its job, whether it's graffiti or bulky pickup. We need to try and get more people involved in working for our city. That's going to be critical if we're going to do this. And until then, we all need to step up. And so we've learned that it just means asking people and trying to educate them and getting them out there with us. I would also add one more thing. The community cleanup piece is critical. I mentioned something about this before, but we need to make it easier to be able to go out and do that. Our neighborhood council was joining us for many years, but the liability forms that the city was making them fill out made it so difficult for them to do neighborhood cleanups. They stopped joining with us, and they said, "Well, just do it under your banner. I have liability insurance, so if something happens, unfortunately, we'll take care of it there." But the city has become so liability averse that they've made it difficult to get out and do this stuff. Thank you, Jill, for nodding. It's made it more difficult, but we still enjoy it and we get the job done.
Great, appreciate it. One more question from me to each of you. We have about maybe another 8 minutes, and then we'll open it up to some questions from our participants on the call. So last question that I have, just quickly, what recommendations would each of you have for others that want to get involved with cleaning up their communities, and where would you say they should begin? Michael?
The one thing too that I do want to mention is that when I'm talking to the kids, the most important thing that I'm talking to them about is to do not drop it in the first place. And also we're being very, very clear on them getting that when they buy a soda, they're buying the cup, they're buying the cap, they're buying the straw, they're buying the bag, just to get them to understand that, their purchases impact all the trash that's coming into our lives, and trying to move the conversation to where they spend their money. And one thing, a big thing that's happening too with us is that over the years, we're running at about 15% of the kids that come to the beach have never been to the beach before. So this, game that I'm playing is very long term. It's getting kids to come to the beach and to fall in love with the resource, so they think it's a good idea in the future to take care of it. And one way that I encourage all of you out there to get involved is to invite us to your school. It's a free program. If you have kids in school, have the teacher contact us. kidsoceanday.org, and we come to the school with our presentation. We have bus money to transport kids to the beach for their cleanup. The city this year has been very generous with a bus grant to get kids to the beach. So that's very easy. Have the schools invite us to come out to the school, and we'll come out and get some of the kids to the beach to enjoy the day. And in the end, you know, this business that I'm in is a long-term love project. It's and I love the beaches and ocean, and I'm instilling that and sharing that, not instilling, but sharing that my love with the kids, that they fall in love with the same thing I'm in love with and want to take care of it. So that's what I'm up to. Did I answer your question, Paul?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Jill, do you have any recommendations on how people can get involved doing the same types of projects in their neighborhoods or communities?
I absolutely. So, you know, if forming an organization like Michael has, and it takes a lot of work. It's a full-time job. Totally a full-time job. So that I don't necessarily recommend. But what you can do is I mean, it's more work than it was for me when I was in the restaurant business. But I love it. So it's a passion, which means it's easy. If you have a passion for anything, and that's where it stems from. If you have a passion for your community being clean, and or other communities, maybe start with your own community, you can rally your neighbors together, talk to them, walk your neighborhood, walk with a bag, pick up trash. You don't need a grabber to pick up trash. It's good exercise to wear a glove and pick it up, bend down. But if not, buy a grabber. They're not expensive. They're $10 and they last for a long time. And walk your neighborhood. People will question you. What are you doing? And you'll meet your neighbors and they'll want to do it because you're going to see that most of them feel the exact same way that you probably do. I actually have a program called Adopt One Street. And so I encourage people to do that. And I'll even give you your first grabber and bags to start and teach you about 311, how to report graffiti and how to report illegal dumping, because I would not expect you to take care of that in your neighborhood. That's what 311 can do for you, and will do for you. And I love 311 as well. But it is just getting out. My goal is to get people off their butts and do something for their community. And picking up litter is the easiest thing to do to help your community, because like this morning, we cleaned up, I think we had 12 people. We cleaned up a half mile going 4 different ways and collected about 27 huge bags of trash. So you can see that made a huge difference. And there was a lot of unhoused shopping carts just on the street. So we empty those and get rid of that too, so that the shopping cart can go back to the grocery store where it belongs. And not to be afraid to do that. Wearing gloves, you can pick up anything. So it really is wanting to do it. We wear yellow vests. People think we're sanitation people as we are out on the streets, but we do it for safety reasons. We go into a coffee. We have coffee after every cleanup. We go to Starbucks or a local coffee store. People look at us and go, "We've seen you before. We've seen you before. You become popular." We can't go anywhere without people saying, "We know that we saw you over here yesterday. Didn't we see you over here yesterday?" It makes you feel really good. And nobody has criticized us for picking up trash. Everybody says thank you. We'd like them to say thank you and how do I join? But the thank you itself makes us want to even do more.
All right, great. Thank you, Jill. Lee, any recommendations for how people can get involved in doing the same type of work in their neighborhoods?
Yes, I would second. Don't set up an organization. And actually, we say that in jest, but there are organizations out there that you can join. There's no need to reinvent the wheel for the most part. There's a lot of folks out there doing this fine work, and so get involved. And if you do see a void, get up, do it. Do something about it yourself. That's my strongest recommendation. Our motto here, sometimes the city isn't too appreciative of it, but our motto is it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. So sometimes we just got to get out there and go get it done. The other recommendation is to download that 311 app.
Yes.
You take a quick pic. Yeah, it takes literally 2 seconds. We have crews of people doing that. And so it's an incredible, valuable resource that keeps our communities clean. It's something that every person can do. And you can't tell me that you're not passing by, some junk or some graffiti almost every day, the second you leave your home. And then there was a question on the app, on the chat, I should say. Yeah, we do pay our homeless members of the community through our program. We just pay them cash. We don't account for it. They don't have bank accounts. We pay them cash each week to go and help us with some of this cleanup. And not everybody, can do that. But we really try and get them out there and get them helping our volunteers. So those are my recommendations to all you folks.
Yeah, and Paul too. I also want to say, to folks that we're always looking for adult volunteers to help the kids with their cleanup. So that is this Thursday, May 25th. So I put the website into the chat. Go to the website and we'll get you connected. But with 4,000 kids, we could use some adult helping hands with that.
Great, thank you, Michael. And I don't know if we've really mentioned it too much, but through the Office of Community Beautification, anyone that wants to coordinate any type of volunteer event, we do have community coordinators that will help coordinate those events. We have a warehouse that's full of brooms and rakes and trash bags and shovels and all the tools and equipment that folks need to do these types of events. So if you make contact with us and let us know, we'll help coordinate some projects, and we'll provide all the equipment that neighborhood groups need. They don't do any good sitting in a warehouse. We want to get them out in the hands of volunteers. Absolutely. We have some great volunteers throughout the city. So let's see, looking for any other types of questions folks may have.
I believe Sean and Frizzell both have questions, Paul. So
Okay, so let's go to Sean. Sean's been doing this a long time. I know I've been working with Sean for many, many years. Hey, Sean, you have a question? Is Sean on mute or?
Maybe you can go to Frizzell.
We'll try Frizzell and then we'll come back, see if Sean's there. Frizzell? All right.
Were there other hands up?
Sean and Frizzell.
Or if anyone has any questions, they can go ahead.
I see Sean McCarthy and Fritzl Clegg were two people that had their hands up.
Yeah, I see. Frizzell, looks like you're on mute. So if you unmute yourself, hopefully we'll be able to hear you. Try now. Or Sean. I don't know. I'm not hearing either one. So
yeah, the unmute is not in the upper right hand corner. It's down in the panel at the bottom of the screen is your mute and unmute.
Yeah.
Sean has a typed comment in the chat. It could be read and answered.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay, let's see. Wait a minute. Where are you, Sean?
Sean's up there. I think Sean, I did see a question from Sean in regards to trash receptacles and, how come certain areas have them along the LA River and how come certain areas don't. My guess is, the LA River is one of those multi-jurisdictional things where, City's Bureau of Engineering is responsible for part of it. Army Corps of Engineers is responsible for part of it. LA County Flood Control is responsible for part of it. Wow. So it does become one of those things where when you have these all, large agencies, bureaucratic in their own way, and some areas may focus a little bit more on putting out receptacles or things like that, and other ones not as much. But I know that Sean did put some
Sean's
locations.
Sean's other comment is the individuals tossing Coke cans and wrappers are only a fraction of the problem. There are commercial dumpers that are unloading on back alleys and side streets throughout the West Valley. How about more enforcement in heavily impacted location using cameras and issuing citations?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a citywide issue. It all comes down to really personnel and budgets of, you know, whether it's LAPD or street services has straight use inspectors that do that type of work. So, you know, a lot of it, you know, takes advocating with the different city council members and trying to get those resources put into, you know, the city budget for that type of work.
Yeah, I know we're working with a church, very wealthy church off of Santa Susana Pass, because Santa Susana Pass is a dumping area, the 4 miles that goes from Simi to the San Fernando Valley. And once a year, Rocky Peak Church and we co-op together to go down that hillway and wench up refrigerators and cars and roofing and everything else that people have thrown down that. And we're finding that just putting up a sign saying that there's a camera on the street, that there is a camera with a fake camera, is a deterrent to people doing that, because they don't know whether it's fake or it isn't fake. So sometimes you can fake it out without having to do the actual camera issue, and work with a business to be able to just put that up and a sign, and there you go. Deterrence.
I love that. I love that idea. You know, I would also add the city used to have a program where they gave the community the old wire trash cans that are out there. They stopped that program, unfortunately. We can't get replacements for the cans that we have out there. And especially right now, the rubber cans are not getting picked up regularly, and they overflow, and then some people come and knock them over and spread the trash all over. It's a real problem. It's becoming an even greater problem. We might start asking them to pick up those plastic cans if they can't manage them appropriately. But if we could start the program again, I know I've seen the pile. They have, I think, thousands of them in a yard somewhere. But start the program again to be able to provide communities with those cans, as long as they promise that they have to either clean them up or they get yanked. But provide those cans again. We would take a couple dozen of them tomorrow, because we can't afford them. They're real expensive. So that's something we can do to try and deal with these cans. And maybe Paul, maybe you're the guy to help us advocate on that one.
Yeah, that's an old program we had in OCB, the Adopt a Basket program. I thought it was a great program, and you're right, the city in its infinite wisdom, somewhere along the line, decided they didn't want to do that anymore, and yeah, so anyway.
And I think that right now, I believe illegal dumping has just gotten out of hand in 2 ways. One, the average individual putting out furniture on the street, and you know they've never called 311. They're just thinking somebody's going to pick up that, because most of it is not usable anyway. It's just what you consider trash. And so they put it out. So we need an educational system that 311 will pick up bulky items, but you just don't leave it out on the street that way. But the other thing is that the reason I believe that there's a lot of illegal dumping is because you have to pay to go to the dump and to dump it. And they are bypassing that and charging, and it's not your big companies, it's your individuals that are doing that people are hiring, that aren't bonded, that are taking the trash, and they're just dumping it illegally and keeping the money that the people are paying them to pocket. You know, that you're not going to be able to get rid of unless you do something about people looking for a bonded person, and that's the only person that you can hire to be able to, you know, take your trash away.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Jill. Appreciate that. I want to try to get one more question in. I see Carol Hart has her hand raised. Carol, did you have a question for us?
Oh, I did. I probably had 3 by now with all the input we've had. Let's see. Now, having been very much involved with water in the LA area, there was a lot of talk. I was on the work group for the stormwater management catchment system, and that will directly affect all of the storm drains that we have, and looking at getting some of that water, hopefully that's not full of trash, put into infiltration basins so that they can restore our local natural aquifers, which are very important to keeping all of our trees in good shape. About 50% of the trees in my neighborhood council have died off. Now, part of that is the seriousness of the drought, but part of it is also because many of those trees were planted about 50 or 60 years ago, and they've reached their lifespan. But certainly going without water has brought them to an earlier demise. Usually they'll get mold, they'll get insect infestation, diseases, whatever. And we have lost a lot of trees as a result of that. So I would like to know if you're working with can you help me work with many of these non-city agencies that are working on the flood control channels to get some of that water, instead of flushed out to sea, Michael, to get it into the infiltration basins where it needs to go to restore our aquifers.
Yeah, that's, I know, a huge program that the city's looking at in a lot of different ways, and something that we're definitely going to have to be moving towards. You know, as more and more people move into the LA area. We got very lucky with all the rain and the water we got this year. So let me thank our panelists, Lee and Jill and Michael. You guys had great answers, great information, truly appreciated. And at this point, Anna, I believe we're turning it over to another program, Spotlight on Organics LA. Is that correct?
That's correct. If I can just ask, Michael, I know Kids Ocean Day is coming up. How can people get, or what doing to sign up, or how do people get involved for Thursday, since it's just around the corner?
You just go to kidsoceanday.org, and it's easy to actually, you can go to kidsoceanday.org/volunteers, and that takes you right to a message center that will connect with us.
And Michael, what is the duration of the event, or the details?
Yeah, and actually in the short term right now, here, so you don't have to go to 614.
Perfect.
Wait a minute.
Lee, Michael, and Jill, if you guys want to leave your contact information once again in the chat, that would be great for everyone.
All right, here's my number. So just call me anytime. And right now it's really so you don't have to go through too many loops. And so it starts at, we need people at 6 o'clock in the morning, and to help set up at Dockweiler State Beach, and you go till about 1 o'clock. So it's a long day, but people seem happy to do it. Come out.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Paul, Jill, Michael, and Lee. What a great panel. It was very informative. And again, if you have any questions that we weren't able to get to today, please send OCB an email. We'll happy to at least guide you in the right direction. Now we're going to be moving forward with our last program, Spotlight. So that does conclude our panels in our program, Spotlight. This will be led by Bernadette Halverson, Senior Environmental Engineer, and she will be discussing Organics LA. Bernadette, whenever you are ready. I'm not sure if you're speaking. I think you're on mute.
Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. We are delighted to welcome you to the Los Angeles Beautification Conference. My name is Bernadette Halverson, a Senior Environmental Engineer representing LA Sanitation and Environment. Joining me here today is Jocelyn Valencia, Environmental Engineering Associate. We will talk about a program that is helping make Los Angeles a more beautiful and more sustainable city. Before we proceed, we have a question for you, for all of you. Did you know that organic waste is a third of our waste that goes to the black bin for landfill disposal? Organic waste, as we all know, are food scrap, yard waste, and even food soiled paper. This is a problem because when organic waste is sent to landfills, it decomposes and releases methane, which is a potent greenhouse gas that contributes to climate change. And this is why LA Sanitation has come up with a sustainable solution by implementing a program to keep organic waste out of landfills. In our presentation, we will explain what the program is, why it is needed, and how it works. So what is the program all about? The city has rolled out a residential organics recycling program early this year. It provides residents with a way to recycle their organic waste. Under this program, residents are required to use their green bin for all of their organic waste collection. This includes food scraps, food soiled paper, and yard trimmings. Altogether, the combined material is processed into a soil amendment that can help improve the quality of our soil. The implementation of this program has been mandated by the state of California under Senate Bill 1383, which aims to reduce the amount of organic waste in landfills by 75% by 2025. So why recycle organic waste? As mentioned previously, organic waste is a major contributor to our landfills. When organic materials break down, they create methane, which is a powerful gas that is harmful to our environment. By participating in this program, we're doing our part in improving our environment. Not only are we diverting organic waste from landfills, we are also reducing greenhouse gas emissions, as well as producing compost that can be used for landscaping and farming purposes. Slide, please. And how does the program work? It works by simply using your green bin to collect all of your organic waste. That's food scraps, food soiled paper products, and yard trimmings. And the collected material is sent to a composting facility where it is turned into a valuable soil amendment. To make the process easier, Sanitation is providing free kitchen pails to residents so they can collect food scraps easily while cooking and or eating. These kitchen pails are 2-gallon buckets. They're dishwasher friendly and they fit easily under the sink. They are also available for pickup at 22 distribution sites, farmers markets, and community events. We will tell you more about making pail appointments later in our presentation. And so now I will hand it over to Jocelyn, who will explain how to participate in the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernadette. Yes, so I will now explain how to participate in the program. So we've tried to make it as simple as possible for all of you. So the first step is you can use the kitchen pail or any container of your choice to fill up. You can put all of your food scraps in here, and then once it's all full, you can go ahead and take it to your green bin and empty it out. And then you can use it again to fill up, empty it out as often as you'd like. And then on the day of your collections, you can put out your green bin and LA San will pick it up and we'll take care of it from there. So it's really only 3 steps. So I'm sure you're all wondering, well, what can actually go into the green bin? So to start off with, we accept food scraps. So you can include your fruits and vegetables, but also your fish, meat, bones, cheese. Basically, if you can eat it, we'll take it. We also accept food soiled paper, so that includes greasy napkins, but also greasy pizza boxes. And then if you go and get takeout, you can put the paper bag that all of your food came in. If it also gets a little greasy or dirty, you can go ahead and throw that into the green bin as. And then, of course, we take yard waste in your green bin. Another common question that we tend to get is, well, what can't go in the green bin? We don't accept any plastic, so even if it says it is compostable or biodegradable, we don't accept it. We also don't take any of the stickers on your produce, so if you get an apple or a banana peel, before you throw it into the green bin, just make sure that you take that sticker off. Another thing to note is we don't take any rubber bands or twisty ties that might come when you go grocery shopping. And we also don't accept any paper products that are lined with wax or a type of coating. So for example, if you go to Starbucks, we won't take the actual cup, but say you get coffee on the little cup holder, the sleeve, you can throw that into the green bin. Oh, we also don't take pet waste or pet litter. We do have some tips and tricks for keeping your pail clean and not smell with a newspaper or a paper towel. That's what I like to do. And then I'll put all my food scraps in here and then I empty it out. And then I just put another paper towel in there. And again, like I mentioned earlier, we don't take any plastic bags. So just use paper. That always works well. And then to prevent odors, you can always sprinkle baking soda inside your pail. You can also empty out the pail as often as you need to, or keep your stinkier items, say your cheese or your meats, you can keep those in your fridge, and then on the day of your collections, go ahead and throw that into the green bin. For your actual green bin, we recommend that you basically create a lasagna. So what I mean by that is that you can put your yard waste and then throw your food waste in there, and then throw some more yard waste and then some more food waste, and you have a yard food waste lasagna. And that'll keep it from getting super smelly and your bin from getting super dirty as well. Like Bernadette mentioned earlier, there's several ways for all of you to get a kitchen pail yourself. The first one being that you can go onto our website at lacitisan.org/organics. And once you're there, you can click on our curbside organics recycling program. And from there, you can go ahead and find which distribution site is closest to you, and then make an appointment to go and pick up your pail. We currently have 22 distribution sites, so 16 of them are at public libraries, and we have one library per council district at the moment. You can also go to our sanitation yards to pick up a pail. If you want to go pick up a pail without an appointment, you can go to our community events, including our sanitation open houses. We actually have one this weekend. If you're really excited and want a pail right now, you can also go to some of our pop-up events. And we also provide pails at certain farmers markets, thanks to the help of LA Compost. Yes. So in conclusion, by participating in this amazing recycling program, you're doing your part in helping the environment by simply using your green bin to collect your organic waste and then taking it to the curb weekly. We can all make a difference. And thank you. That is the conclusion of our presentation.
Thank you so much, both of you. That was so informative. Again, I know we do have a few questions. So ladies, do you guys mind providing your information in the chat? That way people can email you guys directly. And I think if people had questions, maybe the link as to where they can find the yards, that would be great. Thank you so much. That was so informative. So now we turn, we are now going to the live spring urban gardening and composting workshop. That's going to be hosted by Mr. Steve List. So exciting. A lot of you guys have been looking forward to that. And that will take place right now. It'll be about 45 to 50 minutes. So grab your lunch, grab your snacks, enjoy the presentation. And I know there will be a lot of Q&A here. So exciting. Jerry and Steve, whenever you guys are ready. I know they're out in the field. They're at an actual live garden, so the connection might not be 100%, but Jerry, are you here? Oh, there we are. Enjoy, everyone.
We ready? We're ready. Sorry about that. Good afternoon, everybody. And my name is Steve List. Just trying to catch my breath. I'm here at my school, which is Somar High School, and we call it Somar Agriculture Learning Center. And I'm going to talk briefly about some composting, some worm farming. We'll talk a little bit about urban agriculture, and I really would like you to ask questions. I work very well when people ask questions. We can make this workshop a lot of fun for everybody. Start off, some people are calling me lately the water police, especially at my house, because I'm on everybody about how much water they use. Everybody is so concerned about the drought being over that they're not really looking at the big picture. And if you've noticed, we had a little bit of an announcement yesterday by the president of Colorado River. I'm not sure exactly the impact that's going to have on us. I always stress that California is always going to be in some type of drought, and we have to make sure that we're concerned about it, understand it, and be able to live with it. And some of the things that I always tell my lecturers and my audience is, let's look at this whole picture a different way. Let's look at the picture where how much water does these plants really need? How much water does your yard really need? And understanding that you're going to save water. Instead of ripping out your whole landscaping and putting rocks in, if you understand exactly what each individual plant needs, and then you understand the soil. If you have a very sandy soil, you need more water. If you have a very clay soil, you don't need as much water. And then understanding your sprinkler system, you're going to save water, which the plant will be happier. And guess what? You're going to save money in the long run. I do work a lot with the city, Public Works, LA Sand, Climate Beautiful, and we've been giving away rain barrels for probably, I don't know, maybe about 8 years now. And so I'm a big advocate about saving water. And we have, I'll show you as we walk over, we have a lot of water conservation items that we do. But yeah, water saving, very important. I like you guys to get in the mindset that you're spending with the plant and what that plant needs. You're going to be better off, the plant's going to be better off, and you will save water. So going into that, I noticed the last lecture they were talking about these little goodies that everybody's getting, and trying to take your food scraps and putting them into the green barrel and not into the black barrel. It's so important. But what I'd like to also emphasize is, instead of putting them into the green barrel, maybe you should be doing some composting. And LA Sanitation offers these composters and the worm farms, which are over here for $20 to LA residents. And every Saturday, they have these great composting workshops. So if you just go on LA Sand's website, look in there, you can go, you can attend, louder? Oh, I'm not talking, I'm sorry. You could go and attend these workshops and buy the composters, and then they'll teach you how to use it. So we do a lot of composting here. I'm waiting for questions. So what we do is we have all these bins along here at Somar High School, and we get a lot of food waste from Mend, and what we do is we layer it. We put a layer of the food waste, mostly fruits and vegetables. Then we put a layer of carbon, which is grass clippings, leaves, hay, and then we put a layer of soil on top of that. And the reason I put the soil on top of that is to keep the smell down and the flies down. And we layer it up. And then when it's completely full, I get my students, very unwillingly because it is messy, and we move it over to bin number 2. Right here. And we let that sit for a couple months. And yes, if we were to turn it and move it, it would go a lot faster, but we just don't have the time and manpower. So we let that sit for a couple months, and then we take it all the way down and we mix it. We take our final product, we sift it, we mix it with another, like a virgin potting soil, and we come up with our own organic compost soil. We call this a living soil. So it's loaded with bacteria and microbes and all these other items in here, which makes it a living soil, which your organic fertilizers will work a lot better with. So we've done this for many years, and very big success.
I encourage you, if you're using the little bins, you're putting everything in there like you're supposed to, prior to putting it into your green bin, it would be a good idea to try to do some composting. Do we have any questions up to this point?
So Anna, if you could be the person to kind of let us know what the questions are, because my screen.
Yeah, of course. Let me know when you're ready.
We're ready.
Perfect. Some of the question says, what are some of the best drought-tolerant plants to have in landscape or garden areas for easy maintenance?
Oh boy, that's a big question. I'm going to show you a book in a few minutes when we go to the other side and look at our garden. And DWP puts out a really, really good book. It's called California Friendly, and it talks about watering. It talks about some drought tolerance, talks about natives. I like to use the word California Friendly instead of natives, because California Friendly will open it up to a lot more different plants. But most of your woody shrubs, I always like for flowers, I like the lavenders, salvias. We could go on and on and on. But you really got to do a little bit of research. But there's a lot of different plants. We could really get into a whole lecture about that. I'm hoping this summer to be back lecturing for the city and doing that. We will do a complete lecture on drought tolerant plants, natives, all those things. But I'll show you the book when we get over there, and it's free from the DWP, or you could download it as a PDF. I believe it's dwp.com. Go in there. They have both the English and the Spanish versions of it. But you need to do a little bit of research. We can talk about a few plants that I have up there that are drought tolerant.
Awesome. We have a few other questions, Jerry. It says, can you talk about one's compost, please? Where can I attend a compost? What workshop to obtain a worm bin?
All your compost workshops, if you go on LA Sanitation's website, they'll talk about every Saturday they have these compost workshops. They have them at Griffith Park, up at Lopez Canyon, San Pedro, South LA, and now they're adding a few more. But you can go attend these workshops, and they'll teach you how to do the worm farming. They'll teach you how to do the composting, and you'll be able to purchase the composter and the worm farm like I showed you over there. They're $20 each. That's what they're advertising them in now. I grabbed one quick because I believe the prices are going to go up. $20 for these is a steal. They're believe me, they're a lot more expensive than that. But you need to attend their workshops, and then they'll teach you how to do it.
Someone also asked, where can we get this composted soil from?
LA Compost. You can look them up. They have outlets. Panorama City at my friend's CU Ranch. They do a lot of it over there. That's probably the, wait a minute, I'm sorry. You can get LA Sanitation, go to Lopez Canyon. They've got a great amendment. It's called their premium amendment that I use all the time at school. Just go up there, it's free. Or Griffith Park has the zoo poop. That's really good too. And go ahead, it's free, get all you want, but use that and mix it 50-50 in the soil. Do not use it straight. So it's an additive, it's an amendment. It'll make your soil better.
Perfect. Thank you, Steve. We also have Suzanne has a question.
Hi, Suzanne.
Suzanne, you're on mute.
Okay, maybe we should start walking.
Yeah, I can't hear.
Okay.
I think she might be on mute still. Let's go ahead. Stacy Collins has a question.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Suzanne, we can.
Oh,
Okay. Sorry, Stacy.
I had my phone on mute and my computer on mute. With the trash that goes, the food that goes in the baskets, the cans. Can you put it cookies and cake? Because I did, and I didn't know if you were allowed to do that.
Yeah, you could use that. It's you've got to be careful about some things, not a lot of things when you're putting it into your composter, but the cookies and that stuff, you're going to put it into your green bin. That's fine. They've made the list of all that. You could put your dairy products, meats, and all that into your green can, but be careful about putting it into the compost. Dairy products, meats, dog and cat feces, I'd be hesitant in doing. In fact, I wouldn't do that. But as far as the green
I have
bin,
cats, and I put that in my black can, the cat stuff. I don't know where else to put it.
pick it up and put it in the ground.
Hmm?
Just, yeah, dispose of it. It's fine, but never mind.
Yeah, I put it in a bag in my black can. I know where else to put it.
Thank you, Suzanne. Let's
You're
go ahead.
welcome. Thank
Stacy Collins, do you have a question?
Sure, you answered it already. It was in terms of warm bins because, like you said, they are very expensive. Every time I Google them and try to attempt to get one. And just also a footnote, I know you're giving out water bins this occasion, but worm bins would be awesome for the next raffle go around next year.
Thank you.
That might happen. Who knows? But if we want to walk over real quick, since
Yeah, I
we're
think we have
talking-
one more question, Steve. We can just respond to it as we were walking, maybe. Natasha? Natasha Gascon?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. So, my question centers around the fact that Los Angeles has and will continue to have a really high renter population. What I've noticed so far in a lot of these green initiatives with the rain barrels, with green bins and composting and things like that, they are geared more towards people with single family homes or access to land, or who are able to modify their existing systems to accommodate for those things. And a lot of the programs are not really renter friendly. And I know a lot of renters in the city want to contribute, want to be more green, want to help the environment more. And so I just wanted to see if there are more resources for people who rent, or more organizations they can get involved with, or even ways for renters to petition their landlords to obtain green bins, because apparently that's not a standard in our city for multi-family homes to have a green bin. So just wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
I think everything is open to everybody. I've never really found that true. I know that every dwelling has the green bin, they have a blue bin, and then they have a black bin. And as far as you not being able to have access to that, that's news to me. I think petitioning your landlord and asking and what they have, and if they don't have it, I don't, maybe somebody else could tell me, but I'm under the understanding every home has these different color bins and you have access to everything equally. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not sure where you're going with this, but we need to figure it out and make sure you're happy. How's that sound?
I think a few people are saying a few of their apartment complexes don't, but if you guys want to send us an email, we'll be happy to look into this for you and find different resources.
I think it's important, and if it is an issue, I'm sure it could be corrected, but everybody should have access to these green bins, and everybody should have access to these. They're all available for everybody. The whole idea of composting and utilizing your waste in the right things, it says everybody does a little bit of it, and if everybody does a little bit of it, it'll work. If one person does all of it and nobody else does anything, it's not going to work as well. So everybody needs to pitch in a little bit with this, and it'll work. So this, I think, is such a great idea with sanitation. And I have 2 or 3 of them going on at home. I mean, I have each grandchildren with their names on them, and they try to collect as much as they can, and who wins, and then they go out and they put them in the composter. I want to touch real quick on the worm bins because somebody did talk about it. We do have one. This is what sanitation is selling. And if you look in here, I don't know if we could, there's one. We get these little guys. All you need is 2 worms to start. And we mix up some vegetables and the rotten stuff, but we grind it up because the worms have no teeth. We pour it on there. I put some hay in there. Sometimes I put some leaves, shredded paper. We try to create an environment that the worm is used to. And then what happens is the worms, their pee, I may say that, turns into a tea, and it's the worm tea. And then their castings, which is their poop, is a fertilizer too. So you could use this to fertilize your plants to be 100% organic. But the worm farms are great. And you can see this They're in there. There's one little guy. We do a lot of worm farming here, and we do it mainly to instruct people on how to do it. As we walk over to the garden to show you guys the garden, I'll show you some of my worm farms that we have here. But we have a very extensive composting unit, vermiculture unit, which that means worm farms. And yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, these are available, $20. You need to be an LA resident. Come out to their compost workshops every Saturday. I'm not sure where this week is. I believe maybe next week is the 27th. That's this Saturday, right?
Coming Saturday.
This coming Saturday is up at Lopez Canyon.
A week from the Saturday.
If you go up there,
Oh, no,
say hello to my friend Robert. He's a genius when it comes to composting and some other things, but he'll hook you up with whatever else you need. So at that point, let's go walk out to the garden. I want to share with you what we're doing here at school. Well, we could look at the trash cans too, can't we? I have a pretty cool display that I put up last year. So the reason I put this up is to teach my students what to put in each bin. And then they can take that home and pass it on to the parents. So over here we have our green bin, which is organics, and this is where the little tubs of stuff is going to go into. I like to skip over to the blue one, and the blue one is your recyclables. The brown one, horse manure, and we live in Silmar, so we still have quite a horse population here. And the last one is everything else. So anything that doesn't go in those three ends up in the black, and that's the one we want to minimize. That's why we have all these three colors. So my students, we lecture a lot about that, what to do, and then they take that home and they tell their parents. So we're going to go out to our garden at this point.
Here we have a nice view. This is a very impressive place. A lot of different types of vegetation, fruit, plants out here. Very beautiful.
Our school does a lot of nursery production where I teach the kids how to grow plants, all the names of the plants, and then we donate them. We donate them to schools. We donate them to community gardens. We do a lot of raised bed gardens for low-income families. You can see everything in here is given away. We don't sell anything. But my pride and joy and something that I've worked very hard is our tomato plant. You can see how big they are already. These were planted March 15th. And I've watered 2 times since we planted and using rainwater from our rain barrels. And you can see they're big, they're full, they're loaded, and they're 100% organic. And we were talking a little bit about native plants and drought tolerant plants. I have a few items over here. And this is the book I was talking about, California Friendly. One of my favorite books. By the DWP has it, or you could get the PDF if you go to, I believe it's dwp.com. A couple other books I like to tell people about. The Sunset Western Garden book, learning how much water and sun and shade your plants need will help conserve water. I like the Botany in a Day if you're learning more about plants and plant ID. But between these 3 books, you can really get a good knowledge about different plants. Some of these plants in here are drought tolerant. We have rosemary. I have the native milkweed, excuse me. The lavenders are very drought tolerant. The geraniums are okay, but not really as drought tolerant as like the rosemary and the lavender and the native milkweed. But yeah, we've got the most beautiful tomatoes ever, I hope. I'm really proud of them. Actually, I'm proud of my students and what they've done. We have 25 different varieties here. And then on the other side, we have peppers. I have about 35 varieties of peppers that we just planted. We wait till it gets hot before we plant the peppers. How are we doing on questions?
Don't have too many questions as of now, Steve. Maybe you can answer questions like, when is the best time to plant our fruit? How many times do we have to water? You know, things of that sort.
Okay, well, what I like to teach and talk about is watering. Again, I am the water police. I don't like to water. Tomatoes do not like to be watered. I always say that they're just a weed. Neglect them. All you're concerned about with the tomato plant is a plant with a lot of tomatoes. We don't care what it looks like. I've had people come to my lectures with tomato plants that were yellow, had spots on them, and they go, "Hey, Steve, what's wrong with my tomato?" And I go, "Well, what's your production like? Are you getting tomatoes?" "I've never had so many tomatoes, Steve." And I go, "Well, what's the problem?" We're not growing tomato plants for a beautiful plant. We're growing for the production. But watering is so important, and not to water. And everybody comes in, and immediately when they see a tomato plant drooping and wilting, they immediately water it. And in the afternoon, what happens, the tomato will trick you. In the afternoon, they'll start wilting and they'll tell you, "Hey, give me a drink, give me a drink." Don't do it. Don't listen to the tomato. Wait till the next morning. If it's still wilted, probably. But what I like to use is the moisture meters. And you can see the difference here, the height. See, these are very mature plants. So if you look down here, your root system is down here about a foot now. If you're coming in here with this and you're putting it in here like that, see what happens? It says water, okay? What I like to do is either dig down a ways or get a longer water meter and go all the way down, and you can see it's wet. Should I water? No, absolutely not. Stress is so important. I think everybody that's ever grown a vegetable garden, especially tomatoes, they've had beautiful green plants but no tomatoes. And the reason is too much water. Number one problem is overwater. So that helps a lot. Always have the moisture meter, but make sure you don't have these long ones. Get a short one, but dig down deep and then bring it down. You can see how I just wasted my time with that. Immediately, I'm going to say, "Oh my God, it needs water." No, you got to go down about a foot. These roots are down below. That's why we have such big containers. These are indeterminate
Steve,
tomato
on that,
plants.
we do have a question on that while you're there. Someone's asking, what is the technique you're using for the tomatoes, and what are the containers made out of?
So the containers are made out of plastic. They're 45-gallon containers. The indeterminate tomato needs a 2-foot by 2-foot by 2-foot container. If you don't, and you go with a smaller container like these, the plant will still grow, but you're not going to get as big of a plant out of it, and thus you're not going to get as many tomatoes. So you really need a bigger tomato or a pot for these indeterminate tomatoes. What I've done here is the soil. We did something called the lasagna method. And if you look on my YouTube channel, Ask Mr. List, I have, right now I'm up to 6 videos for this year. 2 years ago, I had 10, shows you how to do it. We put a layer of compost. We put a layer of dry organic fertilizer. We put a layer of potting soil. This year I'm using biochar. That might be the difference maker, I'm not sure. And then we keep layering like that. And in between each layer of potting soil and compost, we put a dry organic fertilizer. We build it up, we plant the plant. The reason for the layers and the dry organics is organic fertilizers take a long time to break down, especially the dry ones. So by the time the root is going down, those dry organics are breaking down and ready available for the root system. And then make sure, very important, you get a good strong cage on it. You get these little flimsy ones like this. You get these and they just won't do it. I think anybody that's ever planted tomatoes and they put these cages on, they just fall over. If you're using these, you're going to need to stake it up. So we have this contractor's wire that's used for like putting in driveways, and I get rolls of that and put that in, and then the support system is really good. Anyone have questions?
Somebody wrote, how do you prevent pests on your vegetables?
Tolerance, knowing that, well, you know what's really cool around here? I don't do any spraying at school. First of all, there's no reason to. Also, with LAUSD, we're not supposed to spray, but I never spray. So I always tell people, we break it down. We go, number one, we try to wash off whatever bugs we have on the plants or pick them off. Number two, you start with your organic pesticides like your spinosad, your neem oil, or even a soapy water, and try that. And after that, you're kind of on your own, because I don't really get into synthetic fertilizers. I don't get into synthetic pesticides. Everything I teach in all my lectures is 100% organic. Everybody's going to have a few bugs on the plant. And once you start spraying, you are going to upset the biological balance. You're going to hurt your beneficial insects, and you'll find you'll get more insects when you start spraying. So just washing them off and picking them off is the best solution.
Thank you, Steve. I believe Carol has a question.
Hi, Carol.
Hi, my hand's been up a while, so it's an old question. It happens to be about worm bins. I really, really hope I win. I am already signed up for Lopez Canyon class. But I read a long time ago, it's like they wanted you to put it in the house. And I really don't have any room left in my house to put a worm bin. What heat tolerance can a worm bin withstand, like outside underneath the covered porch?
Yeah, you're fine with that. We have them outside here at school, and as long as you keep them in the shade, you're fine. And don't let them dry out, but don't keep them too wet either. But if you putting them in the house, it's probably the best environment. All of ours here are outside, and they do just fine.
Okay, now you mentioned you started with just 2 worms. I've seen red worms that you can buy. Do you have a preference, or can I just find a few worms in my yard and stick them in there?
Yeah, you could do that, or you could. I think if you at the Lopez Canyon, they'll give you a list of where you could get the worms.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know, or you're at Lopez Canyon, give me a call. I'll see what I can do for you.
Okay, I'll look for your number. Thank you.
We have a few more questions, Steve. We're gonna Nicolas, I think, has a question. Nicholas.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. Hello, Jerry. So a couple questions. One, that meter that you had earlier that showed like the moistness of like the soil, is there any possible way to get one of those, or like how did you obtain one of those?
They're really cheap. They're on Amazon. The ones that are really long, I would recommend first, and I think they were $5 each at the most. I know once in a while at our lectures, DWP has some and we give them away. But yeah, just go on Amazon or go to any of your nurseries or box stores. They do sell them, and they're relatively cheap.
Wonderful. Thank you. And then, hello, here I am. And then I wanted to, because I myself, like, I'm really into gardening. I'm really passionate about it. It's really, really fun. I find it so therapeutic. I think it's like so many benefits that one can receive from gardening, just from not like just the individual, but from the community as well. And dang it, I'm trying to flip my camera. I'm like, I have a standing planter, so I have all my lettuce, I have my chilies, I have my carrots, I got my bell peppers, I have my zucchinis. I have another standing planter that's going to be right here. And then a couple months ago, little goals that I planted, we have pumpkins going. So we have Cinderella pumpkins going right here. And we also have jack-o'-lantern pumpkins going right here. And to complement the pumpkins in behind, I have greenhouse. So I greenhouse these to start with, and then behind them I have sunflowers growing with wildflowers to help attract hummingbirds and butterflies. And then all around we have drought resistant plants as well too. We have plenty of lavender. We have plenty
I think we lost you. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. So I really wanted to get the worms because I know it'll help. So where do we get the worms again too?
Well, the best thing to do is either go online, get my number, call me. But if you go to these compost workshops that sanitation puts on, they sell the worm bins, but they also have a list of places you can go to get them. Mail, but yeah, look on LA Sam's website, and they can explain a little bit better. I believe this Saturday is at Lopez Canyon, and they will tell you also, and then you can purchase the worm bin there too.
Okay, cool. And then is there any way that I could, if you have an email, that I could get your email to get in contact with you?
Absolutely. I think what they'll do is maybe they'll post it. I'll
We'll include it in the chat. We'll include it in the chat.
Yeah,
No
put it in
problem.
the chat, my email, put my social media. That's the best way to get a hold of me. I got some great videos on YouTube. Everything is Ask Mr. List. And it pretty much, I'm up to date on most all of the activities we're doing here at Solmar High School. But contact me, and I can help you, and come by the school and visit. We love to have visitors. My kids love to show off what we're doing over here.
Awesome. I'm in the 15th district. I'm from San Pedro, so if I could probably make the
Hey, San
journey up.
Pedro has shops too. So, hey, cross your fingers. Cross your fingers. Let's hope. Maybe I'm not supposed to say it, but I might come back soon. And I'd love to get back to doing my workshops.
Thank you,
So,
Steve. That was actually one of the
thank you.
questions. People are asking, how can we get you to do more classes? And somebody asked, do you visit community gardens for workshops?
I can. I don't know if your community garden is affiliated with the LA Community Garden Council. If they are, then it's real easy because I do a lot of work with them. We donate tons of stuff to them, but I'd be glad to. I like to go around. I like to help. I'm big in the community, especially when it comes to gardens. Just ask. You know, I try not to say no.
Jumping in, that's okay. There's actually the Neighborhood Land Trust, and so we are part of Fremont High School and the Athens Victory Garden. So it would be wonderful if you could participate in conducting a workshop.
You can talk.
He is the teacher at Fremont. He runs everything over there, and he's just like me, very knowledgeable. I would hit him up. He's the one that runs that whole garden over there, and maybe he can help you too.
Well, no, again, it's part of the Neighborhood Land Trust, so it's a group of gardens. And so the lady who facilitates hosting all of the events is Andrea. So I don't know that guy particularly because I'm part of one of the other community gardens.
And if you can talk to him, I'm more than happy to support with donations. And if you want me to come out and speak, maybe Scott and I can do tag team. Scott does the lectures with me at South LA for LA Sanitation when we're doing it. So he's very, very knowledgeable and very good too.
And you said his name is Scott. He's a teacher at Fremont?
He runs that whole ag center over there by the wellness center where the greenhouse is. That's all LAUSD. He's the teacher there. And then the Land Trust comes in and they share a portion of that with them.
Yes, I'm part of the Land Trust group. So that's why I'm not familiar with Scott, but I will definitely.
All you have to do is ask. I'd be glad to come down, but start with Scott because he's very good. And he gets everything down there probably came from the school anyhow. So we share.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank you. You want to look at my pepper garden. Let's do
this. Yes, absolutely.
So I'm just going to briefly kind of show you what we've done. These are sugar baby watermelon. They will overgrow this whole area. They don't take up as much room as your larger watermelons. I find them a lot easier to grow than the bigger watermelons. Over here, this is kind of an interesting little development. This is eggplant with strawberries, but you're getting a lot of chard popping up. Before this was planted, I had a microgreen garden with all of the microgreens, and they're all coming back. So I'm just kind of leaving it alone to see what that develops into. And then we have our peppers. We have a special pepper from a special friend over here. And over here, these are all bells. These are all sweet peppers, where the Scoville units are 0. So we've gone from 0 up to millions, and we work our way like here. This is mostly jalapenos and Anaheims. These are like a medium pepper. This is about as far as I go. Once I hit that jalapeno, I'm done. Then you go over to the hot ones. You got your habaneros, you got your scorpion, and then over here we have the Carolina Reaper and the Ghost. So we've kind of segmented them and put them in there. I don't know, maybe some of you have seen the YouTube. I ate a Carolina Reaper last year, and it was fun. So there is a YouTube video of me doing that if you're interested in seeing me suffer.
Hey, Steve, we have a question. How much sun is required to grow jalapenos and serrano peppers?
Full sun, all day. Tomatoes, peppers, you have to have a lot of sun. The hotter it is, the better. And we always wait to plant our peppers till May 1st. People often plant their peppers March, April, and they'll grow, but they'll just sit there. They don't really start growing until it gets hot at night. So as the temperatures warm up, they start growing. We've had cool nights still for the month of May, So they're just starting to kick into gear. These have only grown maybe 6 inches since I planted them. I planted these guys in larger plants. The babies, the Ghost and the Carolina Reapers, they were a lot smaller when we first planted them. But you need full sun for almost all of your vegetables. A lot of your winter vegetables, your lettuces and things, they don't require as much sun.
Perfect. Thank you. Does anyone have any more questions we want to ask Steve?
Steve, when are you returning to Griffith Park on Saturdays?
Soon, I hope. Soon, I hope. Who's this?
Bill Bain.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
I'm fine. Miss you up there.
Well, I miss it too. And we're doing everything in our power to do it. I want everybody to know it's nobody's fault that this is happening. And don't be calling and blaming Pacoima Beautiful or sanitation. And they're doing everything in their power to get me back. And I really honestly think we should be back real soon. And if you follow me on social media, we'll make some announcements. But cross your fingers. Believe me, I miss it. That's one of the funnest things I do is the lectures for LA Sanitation.
Miss you too, miss the knowledge. So look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Steve. Do you have any other thing you want to show us in your garden?
We got
I don't
time.
see any more questions right now, but they might arise in the next few minutes.
They might. Let's kind of walk around. You see the vegetables over here. We also, something that's real interesting is we grow the Swiss chard. And this you could turn into a perennial. It can last 3 to 5 years. And what I like about the chard is you could have like a lettuce in the summertime. I use the chard, take it off, and when it's really good, we break it up, put it in with eggs. And chard is a little on the salty side, so you could use this as a substitute. Remember, salt's not good for you. Salt and sugar, don't. Kale, another one that can last you a few years. And let's see what else we got here. This is our antioxidant garden. And I use this to have the kids study what is an antioxidant and to learn about it. So we have pomegranates over here. I have persimmon over here. I have the jujubes, which is one of my favorite fruits. This is also called the red date or the Chinese date. And they're about that big. Some are a little bit bigger depending on the variety. They're like a little apple, but they're very, very high in vitamins and antioxidants, and they make a really, really good tea. And we have got over here, we have our figs. We have 4 or 5 varieties of figs. We just planted avocados. So we have a Hass avocado over here, and we have a bacon avocado over here. Our persimmons. We have 16 varieties of apple trees on the property here at Somar High School. And mulberries. We love the mulberries.
Steve, I think we have a few more questions, but I have a question for you. How would someone, if someone's interested in going to visit the school, how can someone do that?
Call me.
Okay, so I put your email there.
Give them my phone number, give them my email, give them everything. I'm an open book. Even the students, they all have my information. Nobody bothers me. If I don't get back to you right away, call me again. Bug me.
We just toured last week, and it was a beautiful, beautiful tour. Thank you, Steve, for that. We do, I believe, Stacy has a question, and we have another question after Stacy.
Okay.
Stacy?
Oh, I'm sorry. I might have bumped that by accident. Forgive me.
No worries.
Thank you, though.
No worries. Do we have, I just saw somebody else call in. Did I see something? Someone just asked, do you know, or Sonia, sorry. Go ahead, Sonia.
Hi, good afternoon. So I'm with the Green Business Program, and we often come across businesses who have indoor plants. And of course, we try to get them to conserve water and use as many, native plants as possible. Is there anything that you can suggest for those businesses that want to continue with their indoor plants?
As far as natives go, I think you're going to be in a difficult situation. It's just understanding, again, like I said, understanding the plant, the variety, how much water it needs. A really successful indoor garden, and like in businesses, has somebody alternating the plants. So you have your plant, let's say, for 2 weeks in the office. Then you take it out and you bring another one in. You take that plant out, put it in a greenhouse or in a facility where it's got the best environment, and you change it. Plants aren't really supposed to be kept indoors. So understanding that helps. Yeah, as far as I'm not sure exactly where this question is going, but it's just understanding the plant and what that plant needs.
Thank you, Steve. We're running out of time. We do have two more questions, and we'll stop there. The first one is how do you make chard and kale a perennial, and how do you? Sorry, I lost it. Do you have to trim it back when it bolts?
Okay, let's go with how do you do it. You always want to plant the kale and the chard in the winter time. If you plant it in the summer, your success rate isn't going to be as good. It's just going to be more difficult. So you plant it in the winter time, and then all of a sudden it's going to be healthy and ready to take the hot temperatures. That's both kale and your chard. And then when it bolts, let's look over here, because mine, I do have some that's bolted.
Jerry, we have time for one more question.
Okay, you got, this is all bolting. This bolting means it's going to flower. Take it off. Anytime some of these plants, especially the chard, lettuces, as soon as it bolts, it's going to become bitter and it's not going to grow as good. So when it bolts, yes, cut it off, and then that'll encourage the new leaf growth. But there's quite a bit. I've got to get in here and do some work. I've been lazy in my garden.
Thank you, Steve. And the last question to end our workshop today is, do you know how we can get this gardening program in more schools or a specific school in the community?
They're working on it, and surprisingly, there's quite a few that are in here. I don't know what area you are in, but I can kind of tell you if there's one there. In the San Fernando Valley, we have Grant, we have North Hollywood, Canoga, here, Sylmar. Eagle Rock has a pretty good program too. We talked about going down to LA. We have Fremont. Fremont has an excellent program. Lincoln. Venice is rejuvenating their program. There's a new teacher starting over there in September. There are quite a few, but I think, I'm not sure what you have in mind or where, but hey, give me a call. Let's see what we can do. I have a few connections and kind of point you in the right direction.
Thank you so much, Steve. Any final words, everyone, before we finish our wonderful workshop? First of all, thank you so much. I think it was so informative, and you're so wonderful. Thank you so much.
I enjoyed doing this, and give out my information, please. Contact me. I'm at Ask Mr. List on YouTube. My Instagram is Ask Mr. List. Between those two, you're okay. If you're a Facebook person, it's Steve Ask List. Get in there, follow me. I never put anything bad on there. No politics, no COVID. It's all about plants, rock and roll, and my grandchildren. Thanks, everybody.
Steve, can we get your number here? I know you said
818-399-4273. That's my phone number. My email is s.list@verizon.net. And feel free to contact me. And like I said, if I don't get back to you within a day, bug me. I like to be bugged.
Thank you so much, Steve. That was wonderful.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And stay tuned, everyone, for the final remarks and the raffle.
All right. First off, let me just thank everyone for attending, and for those of you that have stuck with us here through the end. We know that to a certain degree we are preaching to the choir. If you didn't have an interest or a passion in cleaning and beautifying our different communities, you likely wouldn't be here with us this morning. But we do hope that we've been able to provide some new and valuable information, as well as inspire you each to stay involved and get involved in community beautification. To a large degree, it's important for each of us to be able to share our stories and to hear the stories of others, to know what each of us are doing in improving our neighborhoods throughout Los Angeles. I've really enjoyed seeing the different comments and people participating in the chat, and providing even more information than we had just through our panelists and our quote unquote experts. And to know that it's not just here in Los Angeles, but that through Keep Los Angeles Beautiful, we're part of a nationwide network of affiliates that are part of Keep America Beautiful. And because of that, we're able to tap into even more resources and knowledge and bring those back here to Los Angeles. There was an estimate by Keep America Beautiful about a year ago that if everyone who lived in the United States would pick up just 150 pieces of trash, that we could clean all the litter in the country. Now, that's a pretty large task, we know, and a lot of us are going to have to do more than just pick up our fair share of those 150 pieces, but we can certainly get the ball rolling here in LA. So that's our challenge, to spread the word and to join in volunteer efforts. So again, thank you to each of you. Now go out and have a beautiful day.
Thank you, Paul. It was very nice.
And we're going to turn it over, I think, to Judith for one
Yeah,
more.
we're going to do the raffle, but I also wanted
raffle.
to mention, if you guys have any feedback or also just suggestions for future conferences, topics you want to listen to, you want to hear about, learn about, mention them right now in the chat. That would be awesome. And as Karina mentioned at the beginning, this was recorded and will be sent out to everyone. Thank you so much for joining. And now I will turn it over to Judith, who will be doing a raffle for 3 rain barrels. Remember, if you're a winner, contact me, anna.weezer@lacity.org, to coordinate pickup. Have a great day, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our conference. For everyone who commented, stay till the end. Thank you so much. We will be giving away 3 rain barrels, and if you're still here, please unmute yourself or write it on the chat that you're still here. And my colleague would again be putting her email, so you could contact her for pickup or delivery of the rain barrel. So is Alex Plaza still here? Alex, are you still here?
Alex, are you here? I know a lot of people are saying still here,
Yeah.
so just respond, this is Alex on the chat, or just say it verbally, please. Let's go ahead and Judith, the next person.
Okay. Robert Tillman, are you still here?
Robert, are you here? Maybe not. Judith, let's try one more time. If not, we'll go ahead and pick someone that's live.
Okay. Sandra Yanes, are you still here?
Jessica Mendrano, everyone is that's live right now is part of the raffle. I don't think so, Judith. Let's go ahead and just pick 3 people from the actual chat right now, just randomly.
Okay. From the chat.
Sorry, not from the chat, from the list of people who are currently here.
Ashley Rodarte, are you still here? Ashley Rodarte.
I'm here. You guys can pick somebody else though. I have like a rain girl, so go ahead.
Okay, so 3 more people.
Okay, how about Bill Bain? Bill Bain, are you still here?
Yes, I'm still here.
Congratulations, you're our first winner out of our 3 rain barrels.
Thank you.
So please contact my colleague Anna. She will leave her email down below. Leslie Elkin, are you still here?
Oh, so Robert
Yes,
just joined
I
back.
am.
Somebody must have told him he won a rain barrel.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, Leslie Elkin, you're our second winner. Please contact
Thank you.
Anna.
Okay. Thank you.
And then one more. How about Thelma Merkel? Thelma Merkel?
Let's go ahead and choose another person, Judith.
She raised her hand.
Oh, she did? Okay, I didn't. Let me see.
Okay, yeah, she's still here.
Robert Skillman came back. Okay, did Thelma raise her hand, Judith? Is she?
I don't see it
I don't.
here.
Yeah,
But Robert Stillman came back.
Yeah, and so did Thelma. Okay, we'll work on those. It's okay. We'll get them another rainbow. So congratulations to our winner. Thelma did raise her hand. So go ahead and contact me, everyone. Send me an email. We'll try to get some different goodies for next year's conference. But thank you all so much for joining us. I'm so happy we're still at 119 people at the end of the conference, which is awesome. Started off with about 250, but that's really great. Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and I hope you guys really enjoy the conference as much as we did. Thank you. Have a great Tuesday.